more teams are more organised. So you've got to be well organised yourself, and you've got to motivate all your players, to play to the best of their abilities.
Yeah, you can't really just tell a team nowadays to go out and enjoy themselves, can you? It's not like that,
That's
is it?
right.
But no, it used to be. I mean,
it used to be.
yeah.
When I first joined Celtic, Big Billy, great motivator. You walked in and you felt 10 feet tall.
Sure.
And just give me the strip and I'll go out and play. And that's the way it was in these days.
That's all it needed. Well, talking of managers, and in particular great motivators, Alec MacDonald must be one of the best of those. A very successful spell at Tynecastle, of course, and now, of course, having done this marvellous job at Broomfield and bringing Airdrie to the cup final. Let's take a closer look at the man they call Doddy.
Alex MacDonald cocoons some glorious memories of his days with Rangers. He touched the heights in Europe and grafted endlessly in the engine room of an Ibrox side, which twice won the treble in the 70s. He was a scorer of goals and the heir to the throne of the left midfield role vacated by one Jim Baxter. Times, though, have changed. Now Doddy plays his football on Sundays for Dukla Pumperson Sawmill and Tannery, a charity team of ex-pros, actors and television reporters whose brains are willing but whose bodies are weak. And among the travelling squad is that same Jim Baxter.
I think I was a wee bit more faster than Alec. No, Alec was a great Rangers player, no doubt about that. And he's carried it on into management. He's showed the same dedication there as he had when he played with Rangers.
But he's not without fans from the other side of town. Dukla Pumperson teammate Danny McGrain is a former Old Firm rival.
The secret of success, I think, is his honesty, his hard work. He's got his team working the same way. They're not perhaps the best footballing team in Scotland. They work hard and they're very, very honest.
What about him as a teammate in Dukla Pumperson?
Oh, great. He's a small little legs that go very quick. Got bigger guys like Andy Ritchie who don't go as quick.
He's infectious, chick. Hey, once he gets in round about, he's actually just talking about the game there this morning. He wants to play left back, left midfield and outside left as well, so we're going to have to temper him down a wee bit.
I mean, you're not exactly one of the great runners yourself when you were playing, are you?
Yeah, it's great to have Doddy run about though when I'm in the team again. He does all the running for me. MacDonald's greatest assets as a player undoubtedly were his commitment and work rate. Airdrie have played that way all season, but that has horrified the purists.
They don't seem to realise how we play. I think they've just picked up in the bookings, and which mostly consists of talking back and kicking the ball away, and in general something that they're just trying to survive in the Premier League. I think they've just picked up on that, and to be honest, I've used it the whole season. We brought it out, we spoke to the players about it, and we've been able to prove a point, and it's worked for us.
Going into this final, you're anything but favourites, but that just seems to suit Airdrie.
Well, I think in Airdrie were favourites.
Rangers with a pre-planned move. There's Plassines with it. There's a great chance for Smith, and there's a goal! Alec MacDonald. 18 minutes gone, Rangers 1, Juventus 0.
I've had my days, as you said. I feel really pleased. I mean, pleased isn't a word for the players. I'm absolutely delighted for them because it is their day. They'll be on the park, and I only hope that they don't miss it. I only hope they go out and enjoy it and do what they're good at and be themselves and just bring a trophy into the dressing room when I'm in there. It's surely something special going with Airdrie, I think, because nobody expected it. We didn't expect it, but the players have worked for it and they deserve it.
Well, the difference is obviously you tasted the real heights with Rangers in Europe and so many other different trophies you won. What's the difference with success in a club like Airdrie?
Well, basically nobody thought they would get there. In many ways at the start of the season I don't think some of the players would even thought they would get there. But all due to the players, they've worked hard. They've got a style of football that suits them, and that's why the reason we play it. They shut down the opposition, they work hard for each other, and on the occasions in the cup tie, we've got the goals. It's been a happy dressing room, just like this one, over the season.
MacDonald's memories of the winning habit at Ibrox. He was signed by Davy White for £50,000 from St Johnstone in 1968, who served him well today. Now it's time for others to learn from him.
We finished quite well this season, but there's been a lot of pressure on us all season. We were the ones that were getting mentioned all the time. I said, "Mim, from yourself," which I'd like to say unlucky. It's been a lot of pressure. I'd like to, maybe next year, for the players' point of view, maybe go out and get survive earlier so as we can enjoy it more. Because next year is just going to be as difficult, even more difficult, trying to survive. I mean, it's a big, big thing, surviving the Premier League. That's Jerry.
What Alec MacDonald has achieved with Airdrie in the Premier Division, what lesson can Partick Thistle take from that next season?
I think we've got to go and try and get kickers before Alec can get them for next year.
If we had the chance to do it all again.
We're not going to change it. We've had the success of getting in the cup with the way we play, and we'll stick to that, hoping that we can maybe snatch 3 goals in the first half and 2 in the second half. We'll not change it. We'll get and do our best and hope that the players and the supporters have a good day and we make it a good cup final.
Alex MacDonald looking maybe a little chunkier than in his playing days, but the skills are still there and he still loves his football, and wouldn't he love to win this Tennant Scottish Cup this afternoon. Very different scene now outside Hampden from even half an hour ago, of course. The crowd's really beginning now to arrive in their thousands. Almost 2 and out in the field, in fact. The Airdrie players have run out. John Martin has saluted the early arrivals as only he can, and really are now beginning to build up towards kick-off time at 3 o'clock. Well, let's take a look at how Airdrie got to this cup final then. They didn't start off too convincingly. It took a late goal before they saw off Stranraer 2-1 at Broomfield. And then after that, they faced a very hazardous trip to Huntly.
The shop windows in Airdrie are dressed for success. Everyone's confident the Diamonds can win Scottish football's glittering prize.
For success, shaping me up for the big time, baby, get dressed. For success, shaping it up for your love, yeah.
Really good little.
Confidence in this town, you can see all the shops decorated up, it says everything's going our way.
A bunch of commandos.
Oh, they are, oh,
Commandos perhaps, but Airdrieonians are certainly men of action. Evan Balfour in particular. When he's not fighting fire, the part-timer's stoking it at the heart of the Airdrie midfield.
Could be fireworks right enough. Yeah, just looking forward to it really. I think obviously we're going to go in so much underdogs, it's unbelievable. But anybody who's going to write us off on the day will be very silly.
The Diamonds have been written off so many times, they've actually grown to like it. These so-called journeymen have come a long way together.
It's a close-knit family. Everybody pulls for each other, they work hard, and there's no so-called stars in the side.
Well, I think it's obviously the lads blend so well, but I think it's a lot to do with the manager and the backroom staff, his assistant John McVeigh and the coach John Binney, all the way down Roy Tomney and whatever. It's just been it's like a big happy family.
Homely sentiment, but the Diamonds' style, like their disciplinary record, isn't pretty. It's geared to survival and very effective. You'll see the fully undiluted version at Hampden.
Do you class Airdrie as a hard team?
How can Airdrie be a hard team when me and Owen Coyle play for them up front? No, I don't think so. I think we just go out and we give 100%, and we like to show that we can compete with the bigger sides. And if that means getting stuck into them, then that's what we'll do, and we'll continue to do that because it's brought us success this season.
Containment may be the name of the game against Rangers, and John Martin, for one, would be happy to take his chances in another Hampden penalty shootout. The big ex-miner's a spot kick specialist. He's a hero for the Diamonds, renowned for almost masochistic courage. So what's behind the bravery?
Thick. Just thick. I don't want to actually... I got carried off against Falkirk, I think it was, and the doctor just got me on the treatment table, stitched my lip, and out I went again. And I couldn't tell you what was happening in the park like, but I didn't want to desert the ship, you know.
Martin's had a 12-year journey with the club, but even he can't remember Airdrie's one and only Scottish Cup triumph in 1924. The only surviving member of that side is now 86, Bob McPhail. Although better known as a Rangers legend, he won the first of his 7 winners' medals at Broomfield.
Who I'm supporting, it's difficult.
It must be difficult. You must have feelings for both.
I would like to see Airdrie winning, but not against Rangers, if we can say that.
Diamonds are forever, forever, forever. Diamonds are forever, 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 forever. And ever.
Well, there's how Hampden looks in what is now a sunlit Saturday afternoon. Delighted to say the sun has broken through. We have some blue sky, and it really is a very attractive sight inside. And that character in the Airdrie goal, John Martin, is trackside at Hampden.
John, we've just heard you talking recorded, calm and collected during the week, but how are you feeling now?
It's all the same. I'm just like any other player. Obviously, when we go back in, the butterflies will start. But once we're out, hoping they go away, and we'll just get stuck into them.
And obviously, a great day out for you and a great day out for this
lot
lot behind you.
That. I mean, that's tremendous, you know. I don't think I've seen anything like that in my life. They will get right behind us, and hopefully we can bring the cup back to Broomfield.
At this sort of stage, are you worried about your start to the game, whether you're going to make any slip-ups early on?
Obviously, you don't go out to make mistakes, but as you know, it happens to everyone. We just hope to keep it tight, don't lose any early goal, and the more it goes on, I think the more frustrated the Rangers will get.
And if there are any penalties, you're the man to save them, I mean.
5 out of 5's no bad, eh?
That's good going. OK, enjoy your day. Thanks,
Thanks
John.
very much, thanks.
He's a one-off as John Martin. In fact, his penalty record is quite remarkable. I think it's something like faced 93 in his career at Broomfield. He saved 20. Now, that's a pretty good record. That's better than 1 in 5 penalties saved. I think any goalkeeper would certainly settle for that. Well, the pre-match build-up going on behind us, but having concentrated on Airdrie for the last few minutes, let's now turn our attention to the team in the other dressing room here at Hampden, and in particular, Walter Smith. He was here, of course, with present assistant Archie Knox as teammates in the Dundee United team who lost the 1974 final. And this time, of course, he's going for the double as a manager of League and Cup. Manager of the Year, Walter Smith.
Walter Smith and his Rangers players are well versed already this season in the art of celebration. But with the championship prize under lock and key in the Ibrox trophy room, the club manager today hunts the silverware which has eluded Rangers' grasp for 11 long years. And in the privacy of his oak-panelled office, Smith issues a warning to those who pour scorn on Airdrie and accuse them of bully boy tactics.
I think if you're a Rangers player, you're involved, a Rangers manager, you're involved with Rangers, the media attention that's focused on them makes them favourites for everything, with maybe the exception of the European Cup. So we're used to that, and I think Airdrie have had a season where they've been the underdogs, and they're used to that. So I don't think anything that's written about the Cup final will particularly affect anybody at Rangers or Airdrie.
Airdrie have carried some bad publicity this season for the way they play. How do you see them?
Well, I think Alan McDonald deserves tremendous credit for the way his team's performed. I mean, he's unlucky not to get to the League Cup final. They've got themselves into the Scottish Cup final. They've achieved what they set out to do at the start of the season, and that they've stayed in the Premier League. They could look at Rangers and then look at themselves and say, well, we've achieved nearly the same things. We get beaten in the Skull Cup semi-final. We've just got to the final to play against them. Rangers have won the league, which people would look them to do. So, I mean, both teams have had their successes this season, and the criticism about the way they played, well, I think if we look at teams further down the league, if I was the manager at Airdrie, I don't know whether I would handle it much different from Alec McDonald.
Yeah, I mean, because you were given that award as manager of the year, and Alec justifiably could have won it beside you, but given that, you know, what he has to work with.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. So, I mean, I don't think that people that are in football should criticise the manner in which other teams play. Everybody's got to do a job, and Alec's done his better than most this season.
Smith is a man thrust into the spotlight, a vastly different proposition from his predecessor. His best pal was always Archie Knox, and it is Knox who knows him best of all.
Goes about his job in a quiet manner. If need be, then the other side of him will be seen, but maybe not in the public.
I mean, he has a sense of humour that maybe people are not aware of, for example.
Oh, there's no question about that. I mean, he'll have his fun with the players the same as anybody else will have, but, you know, then obviously the public don't see that side of it.
He served a lot of time under Jim McLean at Dundee United. He served 2 years under Graham Souness here, or 3 years before he became manager. I think he learned a lot under the two managers. I think, well, at United I kept him in the job for 12 years because he scored 100 odd goals. And since I came here I've kept him in the job for the last 2 years too. So hopefully if I win the cup we might still be in a job, Chick.
What do you remember? Is he a changed man from the guy you remember at Tannadice to what he is now?
I think he's got a lot of grey hair. I've noticed that, and I think his hair's definitely got a bit thinner too.
So what do you do with grey hairs on cup final day? We took the Rangers gaffer for his pre-Hampden trim, and hairdresser Taylor Ferguson has his own suggestions. Oh yes, and a little secret about Andy Roxburgh came out of the bag. Taylor, what do you think? I think it's maybe time the man should be getting a wee bit of colour put into this hair.
Well, I certainly could do something if he would like it done. I could maybe give you an Andy Roxburgh. Same shade as that, no?
Are you telling me that Andy Roxburgh colours his hair?
I'm saying, what about a blue rinse, Walter? Some...
Is this the secret of the bag? Does Andy Roxburgh colour his hair? Do we know this for a fact?
Well, I've no idea whether Andy colours his hair or not. Taylor's been at me for a while to get mine on, but so far I've refused.
Is this grey hair getting... I mean, I don't remember you ever not having grey hair, if I could say that to you.
I don't... No, I don't... There's a certain stage in my career to it when I did have sort of maybe dark brown hair. It's certainly gone grey enough for the last 4 or 5 years.
Are you very aware of this image sort of thing at Rangers?
What image?
Taylor, what would you do to him if you let you have your way?
Probably I would put a very, very subtle kind of colouring on it. Just, you know, it does make a difference, Walter. We tend to have fair-skinned, and a bit of colouring's quite nice. But, you know, somebody's got to be with you in that. You know, and when ex-presidents of the United States get it done, I mean, anybody can get it done, can't they?
Taylor's subtle colouring's black.
You don't fancy an Andy Roxburgh black?
And I would. No.
The pressure was on him because we all know what type of character Graham Souness was. He was far more outgoing and bold and brash than Walter Smith is, but I think Walter Smith is going about his job in a very quiet and a very effective manner, and all I can do is thank him and Archie for giving me the chance. As I say, last year wasn't easy for me when I wasn't playing, but to play this year, it's all down to the management, and I like to think I've repaid him by scoring 1 or 2 goals for him.
What do you remember of Walter Smith, the player?
Well, I think 3 goals in 17 years says it all. I mean, there's not an awful lot more you can say about it. 2 of these are in practice games. One against Dundee at Dens Park. Didn't have a big future in the game as a player.
3 goals in 17 years, hardly golden boot material, but it's a gold watch Walter Smith seeks in return for long service as manager of Rangers, because there is no place he would rather be.
A Glasgow boy. I was a Rangers supporter as a boy. This is something I always dreamed about when I went into football management. It's happened to me. I can see no better job. But circumstances dictate, you can never tell. If I don't win any more of these league championships, the motivational factor comes into play.
Secrets being revealed in the hairdresser's salon. Eh? Who would ever have believed it? I've got to get a comment on that. Now, Murdo, you played with Walter, in fact, just towards the end of his playing days, didn't you?
That's right. I just started my career down at Dumbarton, and Alec Wright signed Walter to come down and use his experience and all the younger players.
What colour was the hair then, was it?
It was jet black, yeah. So I think he's still getting a rinse through it. Yeah. A mature look.
Interesting revelations there about Andy Roxburgh too, Derek.
I don't believe he colours his hair. I'm just saying that, what is Chick Young doing in a hairdresser shop anyway?
Let's move swiftly on, I think. And having already heard Walter Smith's thoughts, looking forward to this cup final, what about the players themselves? Confidence obviously is high, perhaps the danger is that it might just be too high and complacency sets in. Let's hear from Rob McLean with the Rangers squad.
It's 11 years since Ibrox trophy polisher Lizzie Love had her hands on the Scottish Cup. Like everyone at the club, she hopes the long wait will end today. Davy Cooper scored one of the Rangers' goals against Dundee United when the cup was last won. And Ali Dawson was captain. Now coaching in Malta, he sends this message of hope.
This year, I keep saying it, is going to be the year that they're going to win it. It's been too long as far as I'm concerned, and I think as far as every supporter's concerned. So hopefully I'll keep my fingers crossed that they win it this year.
Their latest campaign got off to a tough start. Aberdeen at Pittodrie in the 3rd round. Ali McCoist, who scored the only goal that night, is desperate for cup success.
It's vitally important for me to do well in this cup and win the cup on Saturday, because it's the only medal I haven't got. Believe it, and it's crazy because the other cup competitions have been great to me. The Scottish Cup, I think I've got 6 or 7 medals, but the Scottish I don't have any.
Rangers keeper Andy Gorham has lost only 1 goal on the road to Hampden. Phil O'Donnell's rocket shot for holders Motherwell in the 4th round. Gorham's come through a tough time in his first season at Ibrox.
no point in hiding it. I was down, I was depressed. The manager stuck by me, all the boys helped me through it. David Dodds has been coaching me as well. He's been the goalkeeping coach this season. And they've turned it around for me more than anything. You wouldn't really put your finger on one save or anything like that, but it was difficult, but it's all turned out well.
2 goals by Ukrainian Alexei Mikhailichenko rescued Rangers against Motherwell. The CIS captain, signed from Sampdoria for more than £2 million, has become increasingly influential in Walter Smith's team.
He is, he's a genius. He's maybe, the boys are maybe a little bit critical of his work rate, shall I say. But I mean, when you've got ability, an outstanding ability as it is, he can literally do things that can just about make the ball talk.
Mikhailichenko's coming to the team and he's just pure class.
You just give him the ball and then he does tricks with it. If you're impressed, I just give Mikhailichenko. He keeps it for about 10 minutes.
He's so graceful and he cruises through games. I think that's nothing but praise for him.
Dutchman Peter Houstra was the inspiration behind the comprehensive defeat of St Johnstone at McDermott Park in the quarter-finals. McCoist and Richard Gough got the first 2. The last goal in a 3-0 win scored by Mark Hateley, whose spells in France and Italy left him with no happy memories of cup finals.
I've been there twice, although I didn't play in the French Cup final, which we lost against Marseille. I played against Graham for Sampdoria over 2 legs in the Italian Cup final, which we lost. So hopefully I'll be looking at third time lucky here.
Richard Gough has already been presented with this season's championship trophy. He's confident he'll get the cup too, despite his unhappy final record.
People keep harping on about that. I'm just glad to have played in 3 cup finals. A lot of players haven't even played in any cup finals. You know, I've played in 3, so you can just give yourself a chance to go on and get into another cup final to give yourself another chance of winning the medal. What happens in previous cup finals doesn't have a bearing on what happens in the next one.
There's agreement from Nigel Spackman, a cup loser with Liverpool against Wimbledon 4 years ago.
We'd already won the league, went to the cup final. Everybody's saying, well, Liverpool just turn up for the game and they're going to win. But it doesn't work out that way. And I think this game against Airdrie, people were saying exactly the same. Well, Rangers have just got to turn up and they win. But I think if you look at Airdrie's form recently, they've gone 9 games undefeated. They've obviously earlier in the season got to the Skull Cup semi-final and were unlucky not to get to the final there. And now they've got to the Scottish Cup final. So they must be a good cup team as well. And we're not taking anything for granted, and I'm especially not.
Ice-cool finishing from Ali McCoist got 10-man Rangers over the Old Firm hurdle in the cup semi-final. And Airdrie be warned, the deeply dippy striker wants to round off a memorable season.
Somebody said to me 12 months ago, you know, you score 34 league goals and a few in the cup and be league champions and the Sports Writers Player of the Year, I would have probably laughed at them. So I think in terms of that, if we do win the cup, it will be my best season here at Ibrox.
A confident Rangers squad, understandably, and the deeply dippy Ali McCoist, who's had a quite astonishing season and will obviously fancy his chances of being on the score sheet again in this afternoon's final. Just a little over half an hour now to go until kick-off time. There's the scene inside Hampden, filling up nicely. Still perhaps not just as busy as you might have expected so close to kick-off time, but those who have tickets, the lucky ones, so many left locked outside, not literally, but unable to get a ticket for the big game of the season. And that really is a great shame for those who have missed out. John Brown, of course, who had severe Achilles tendon injury problems at the end of last season. You remember he went off in the league decider against Aberdeen, but a summer of rest and recuperation saw him start the season out of the squad, but he's coming in. In fact, he's keeping Oleg Kuznetsov out of the Rangers side, and that is a great tribute to the Bomber. Would you agree, Derek?
Yes, I would agree with that. I think if you're talking about defenders, I think Oleg Kuznetsov probably uses the ball a lot better, an intelligent player, but as for just defending, I think John Brown is a far better defender. He's played very consistently for Rangers this season, and there's no doubt deserves his place in the team of today.
And what about Ali McCoist? Nobody's mentioned him very much over the last few weeks, Murdo, so we might as well give him a mention here, but he has had a quite astonishing season, hasn't he?
It's been unbelievable. No, everything he's touched this season's went into the net. He's deserved every award he's got this season. He's scored in all the important matches.
You've played with him and against him, of course. I mean, can you briefly sum up what his main attributes are?
He loves scoring goals. I think that sums him up. He's not one that will go and work hard, but dropping back into midfield and look for the ball. Just get the ball in the box and Ali will be there.
And Ian Durrant as well. And I think everyone in football, no matter their club loyalties, must be delighted to see Ian Durrant back once again in the Rangers squad. And as far as we know, will take his place in the starting 11 today. Let me remind you again of the Man of the Match competition. We're offering you the chance, of course, to win a trip to Gothenburg to see Scotland's opening match in the European Championship finals. And that, of course, is against Holland. A draw made earlier this year. Scotland in with the Netherlands, CIS and Germany. Tough group. Our opening match against the Dutch, the defending champions, in Gothenburg on June the 12th. With everyone looking for a repeat of the win over Holland in 1978, although I doubt whether we'd ever see a goal just quite as spectacular as that by Archie Gemmill. So, your chance to be there when Scotland take on defending champions Holland on the 12th of June. All you have to do is predict who will be the sponsor's man of the match in the Tennant Scottish Cup final this afternoon. The lines are open until 4:30 this afternoon, but our advice is to call earlier rather than later. 0891 88 1991. It would only cost you 36 pence. 0891 88 1991. Well, it is nice to see that the weather has improved. It's always nice to see sunshine and cup final afternoon, and that, I'm sure, will please the match referee as well, completing a nice family double, because Kenny Hope refereed the 87 final here between St Mirren and Dundee United. His brother Dougie is the referee this afternoon.
Dougie Hope, the man in black today. You've had a little look around the pitch. What sort of nick's it in?
Oh, it's very good. Perhaps maybe a wee bit greasy considering the rain we've had, but reasonable.
Now, I believe this is your first cup final officiating as a referee, Dougie. How are your nerves?
I suppose everybody else is. I don't think my knees can knock. Physically, that's impossible for me, but you know, you get butterflies, but it's my job not to sort of put that on to other folk.
Now, Airdrie and Rangers are two teams you've obviously come up against a lot in your time as a referee. Are you expecting problems today?
I don't go looking for problems. I'm out there really to enjoy myself. And I suppose the players are there for the same thing. You know, football's meant to be enjoyed.
Now, obviously, a lot of people watching you today and the two linesmen, including your brother Kenny. A critical eye there.
Maybe, but he's much older than me, you know. Yes, I think there will be a critical eye. But having said that, it will be constructive criticism, which is most important to referees.
Well, let's hope you get plenty of that, and let's hope you have a good game.
Fine, thanks very much,
Thanks,
Hazel.
Dougie.
Yes, everyone hoping for a trouble-free afternoon, and I must admit, I think we will get it. But let's bring in at this point the Airdrie disciplinary record with Derek and Murdo. It's been talked about so much. And when you actually look at the statistics, I mean, they do make pretty awful reading. Airdrie with the worst team offences record in Scottish football, 8 red cards and 82 yellow. Bookings, well, the worst defenders perhaps, Kenny Black, who isn't playing today, Jimmy Boyle and Chris Honor with 9 bookings over the season. Murdo, are Airdrie a dirty team?
Thanks.
Nice easy question for you.
Thanks. They're a team that play to their own strengths, and I think that's they're all determined to win. You get players that's determined to win, and obviously they don't want any of the opposition to get by them. They stop them. Referees deem it unfairly, and the players get booked.
They put your side out of the cup.
That's right. So you can't knock them too much because they're sitting out here today. I'd have loved to have been there, but they're there and we're not. So you can't criticise a side that's done better than you.
Or can you, Derek?
Well, the bottom line is, I mean, they're a team that gets men behind the ball and make it difficult for other sides. They man mark, as I said at the back. We've got 2 or 3 man markers that stop all the important players playing up front, and sometimes they sneak a goal. That is their style, that is their resources. They don't have big money to spend on class players. They have to use what they've got, and I think they use it very well.
Absolutely. And Walter Smith this week pointed out that in the 4 games Rangers have played against Airdrie this season, he hadn't seen any problems whatsoever. He didn't consider them a dirty team, and that perhaps should be the last comment on that subject. But there we are, looking out at Hampden. We're now just less than half an hour away from kick-off time. And we've been out to Dunrobin Primary School in Airdrie earlier this week to see what the youngsters there had to say about the big match.
So it's Guess the Star. We asked the kids to describe their favourite player without mentioning his name.
He's got curly hair, he's fast, he's not too big, not too small, he's in the middle.
He's a good player.
and everybody likes him. He's about the favourite, I think.
He's got black hair. He's number 10. And blue eyes, and he's his top scorer.
He's got brown wavy hair. He plays number 9 or number 10, I'm not sure. He's a brilliant football player.
And his hair's brown. I think he's got blue eyes. He goes out with something called, I think it's Janet, I'm not sure.
Do you know what his wife's name is? What is it?
Alison.
And he goes out with somebody called Janet.
I think it's Janet, I'm not sure.
Right, okay, we'll find out
It's
that.
Alison.
Alison. Right, okay, Alison, not Janet.
He's good looking.
What do you think? Good looking fella?
Yes.
I don't think he's good looking anyway. I think he's pretty ugly actually. Has you got his picture up in your bedroom wall?
Yes.
Who else? What, any pop stars or anybody up there beside him?
I like Macaulay Culkin, and I like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
So is this guy, this football player, is he a cross between Macaulay Culkin and Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yes.
That's quite a good description of him actually.
She thinks I'm a cross between her. I think she's probably quite right. I've got Macaulay Culkin's physique and Arnie's brains.
You said it, pal, but for every Rangers pin-up, there's an idol from Airdrie. So how about this for an identikit picture?
He's got blonde hair. He scored a couple of goals this season. He plays up front, striker.
He's got blonde hair with kind of like dark streaks, and he's a very good runner. He's quite tall in the middle, sort of, and he's got quite a good reputation for goal scoring.
He's sort of quite short and quite tall in between, and he's got blue eyes, sort of blondie with sort of wee bits of grey in it.
He's got blonde hair, and he's got blue eyes, and he's tall.
He's got blonde hair, and he's quite short, and he's faster runner. He's the second top goal scorer.
He's good looking.
Mhm.
Think so?
I think he's worth £300,000.
Is he better looking than Jason?
No.
What else can you what else can you tell me about him then?
He's good at football.
She's obviously got high standards, that little girl. But I would like to meet her one day, and then maybe when she's seen me in real life, she'll maybe change her mind.
Did you get him? Alan Lawrence isn't quite as handsome as Jason. Now then, who's going to win?
Airdrie should win, but Jimmy Sanderson isn't playing, so Airdrie should still win, but Rangers might win.
I'd say the Rangers could maybe win, but I think that Airdrie could win in 90 minutes.
What do you think the score will be in the final?
2-8, and it'll go into extra time.
And then what?
Airdrie will win.
On penalties?
Yes. We'll hope they put Airdrie out with a granny.
You sure about that?
Yes.
Drew, what do you think the score will be in the final?
2-1.
To who?
Rangers.
Do you think they'll need penalties?
Yes, because Airdrie will score another goal in the second half, and then it'll go into extra time.
What would you like to say to them and to Big John Martin? There's the camera, don't tell me, tell the camera.
Good luck. Hope you do well. And keep saving the way you have been, John.
Airdrie will never win the cup.
But Big John, while you're saving goals, catch this from Debbie.
Great stuff. The kids from Dunrobin Primary School in Airdrie, and some of them no doubt will be here. The rest I'm sure watching at home on television. Well, we were just commenting, in fact, that the Rangers end, the traditional Rangers end, what used to be the West Terracing here at Hampden, very slow to fill up. But that, of course, is now because that it's seated, and presumably all the seats have numbers, and therefore all the Rangers fans with tickets for that end know exactly where they're going, so there's not quite the rush to get in that there once was. But it still looks a little strange to see so many spaces so close to kick-off time. Sandy Stewart apparently will captain Airdrie since Jimmy Sanderson, of course, is suspended, and that's ironic in itself because he, of course, was given a free transfer by Alec MacDonald while he was a player at Tynecastle. Strange how things can turn around. Here's Sandy Stewart talking to his 11.
Sandy Stewart, you'll be leading the Airdrie team out today. Great honour for you.
Oh, it's a great honour. Unfortunately, with circumstances with Jimmy, somebody's got to take the team out, and I'm just delighted it's myself.
How much are you going to miss Jimmy and Kenny Black today?
I think we'll miss them, but I also think we've got players that can come in and do a really good job, and hopefully with the score at the end of the game we'll not miss them that much.
Now, whatever happens, you're winners. You're in the European Cup Winners' Cup, but how much would it mean to you to actually go up those steps and pick the cup up today, Sandy?
I can't really put it into words. I just hope it's true and it happens. But we'll be delighted. We're here not to make up the numbers, but to win the cup.
I know you can't tell me too much about the tactics, but I don't suppose they've changed much, have they?
No, I don't think you need to have a crystal ball to see our tactics, but we've had success with it this season, and hopefully today we'll have the same success.
The problem could come if Rangers hit you fast early on in the match.
I think the 3 games that we've been beaten by Rangers this season, we've lost a goal early on, so obviously it's our main concern that we don't lose one early.
But 0-0 at Broomfield the last time, that must give you great hope.
Oh yeah, we thought we really deserved at least a point there, and everybody's looking forward to this game.
Sandy, all the best. Have a good game.
Thanks very much.
Sandy Stewart, the Airdrie captain this afternoon. Now, it's been a fairly well-kept secret, but in fact there was a bit of a crisis in the Airdrie camp earlier on this week because the strips nearly weren't ready for the big day. True story, they've signed a new strip contract with a new manufacturer, and they were to be manufactured in the northeast of England, in County Durham, in fact. They found, though, that the original batch had a fault and that the strips, therefore, would not be ready in time. So they quickly had to reorder a new batch of material, and this is how the cup final strips are actually put together in the northeast of England in the Hummel factory, ready for the big day. And of course it's significant nowadays that cup final strips are always one-offs. They're always individually made with the badge commemorating the occasion. And the nimble-fingered ladies in the Hummel factory had to put together the strips. But only just a real rush job in the last couple of days, ready for delivery to Broomfield for the big day. The Airdrieonians, only one cup win in their history back in 1924. Strangely, the last cup final to be played anywhere other than here at Hampden. It was played at Ibrox. So there we are, the strips have arrived in time. The teams, as we've seen, are here and are just completing their warm-ups out on the pitch. It's a very crowded pitch, actually, Mutt. I'm surprised they got room to complete the warm-up.
That's right, the pipe band are going up and down the middle, so the players have got to watch where they run or where the ball goes. I've seen some of them running in between the band to try and retrieve the ball.
That's a departure as well, really, Derek, isn't it? Because it used to be that you didn't see the players until 5 minutes before kick-off time, but now the warm-up is an important part of the build-up, isn't it?
It is, because there's been so many pulled muscles recently, Dougie. You've got to get out early on the pitch, and also to soak up the atmosphere as well. I feel sorry for the players, because really they can't get down to their warm-up because of the pipe bands. There was 7-a-side football. I mean, each of the teams had a little corner to do their warm-up in, which is really a bit unfair, but people want to see stuff from 1:30 here, and that's certainly what they've got this afternoon.
Well, it is filling up, obviously, as we get closer to 3 o'clock. The Airdrie fans thoroughly enjoying the day out, and you can't overstress just how much pressure it lifts off the players to know that they're already in Europe. They'll play in the European Cup Winners' Cup, no matter the outcome this afternoon. As a member of the legal fraternity in the midst of the Airdrie fans. And that must take some sort of award for the longest flag we've seen at Hampden for a long time. Someone's been burning the midnight oil putting that together. That, the Airdrie end, if we can call it that, just underneath us, the family section and the ranks of the Airdrie supporters. And I suppose one has to point out, as we did when St Mirren were here in '87 and when Motherwell won last year, that the boards of all those clubs would just love to see even half the numbers who turn out on a big occasion to actually go along on a regular basis. Well, Alan Lawrence, of course, the Airdrie striker they call Nipper, is an important man for them this afternoon, and he's talking to Rob McLean.
Alan, what do you think of it so far?
It's brilliant, everything's going as we expected, and it's really good to see the lads so relaxed before a big game.
And obviously a terrific support there behind you.
Well, what more can I say? Just hope that we can do something for them today.
Feeling quite confident that you can cause Richard Gough and company a few problems?
We're always confident that we can cause teams problems. But as I say, we've just got to see what happens on the day, and hopefully maybe we'll come out on top.
Obviously a great deal of relaxation about the Airdrie side. You've done what you set out to do at the start of the season, and this is all icing on the cake, as someone once said.
Oh yeah, this is definitely a bonus for us. I mean, our main priority was to stay in the Premier League. But to end the season on such a high note is absolutely unbelievable, and I'm sure that we won't disappoint ourselves today.
Enjoy yourself. Thanks, Alan.
Thanks very much.
20 minutes or so away from kick-off time in the 107th Tennent's Scottish Cup Final. The whole match live here on BBC Scotland this afternoon, including extra time and penalties if required. We'll also take in highlights from Wembley of the FA Cup Final at half-time and full-time, Liverpool against Sunderland. And again, let me just remind you of that telephone number for the Man of the Match competition to win a trip to Gothenburg to see Scotland-Holland in the European Championships. 0891 88 1991. Your prediction of who will be the sponsors Man of the Match this afternoon. Lines open until 4:30, but call now even before the match has started. After all, you've got a 22 or perhaps a 26 to 1 chance of guessing the right name. 0891 88 1991. Well, let's get a few closing thoughts from Derek and Murdo just before we hand over to Jock and Billy for match commentary. If you're Alec MacDonald, Derek, what do you think is the most important thing that you should say to the players before they go out?
I think what they don't want to do is lose an early goal. I think that goes without saying. If you allow Rangers to play and give them an early goal, they will get a big lift from it then. I think there could be goals in it. If you go out there and they defend, which I think they will do, they'll man mark and make it as very, very tough for Rangers as possible. If they go through half an hour or even up to half time without Rangers scoring, they will get a big boost out of that, and that's important for them.
Well, let's take a look at the two team lineups. Airdrie then firstly, John Martin in goal, Walter Kidd, Sandy Stewart who takes over as captain, Chris Honor, the £20,000 signing from Bristol City, Gus Caesar. Now that's interesting there at number 6. That is a bit of a surprise. I would have thought Boyle, Balfour, Lawrence, Coyle, Kirkwood, Smith and Reid on the bench. That might just be food for thought for our match commentary team this afternoon. Let's hand you over now to Billy McNeill and Jock Brown. Well, we're obviously having problems with the sound just for the moment. We'll hopefully get that put right for you. But we're looking obviously at the Rangers team, which Murdo is along very much expected lines, isn't it?
That's right, no surprises at all. Very strong side. They played together for so often this season. We look forward obviously to go out and cap a fine season.
Fairly conventional 4-4-2 formation with McCoist and Hateley up front. No Peter Houstra, I thought he might have been on the bench, Derek. Are you surprised by that?
I think he'll be disappointed, but because I think today Rangers are going to have to get men wide to get ammunition into the box for the likes of Hateley. No use being good in the air if you're not going to get the ammunition, and surprises me no real wide players there. The only one they have is Dale Gordon, who's on the bench.
All right out, of course, who can play in both defence and attack, and as he has proved over the last few weeks of the season, a very useful player to have as cover in central defence. Well, I think we can make contact with our commentary team. Let's try again to say hello to Jock Brown and Billy McNeill.
Thank you, Dougie. Yes, there's the very colourful setting here at Hampden, and while it is criticised so frequently, it's still a very colourful scene for Cup Final day. So there are some very relaxed faces waiting for the start of the match, which is some 15 minutes away now, and we've had that confirmation of the two team lineups, and that is, of course, Billy, of substantial interest.
Yes, and Airdrie have been hit, obviously. Little Con hasn't passed the fitness test, and I think that will handicap him just a little bit, Jock, because he's a sharp little player and has the confidence to go at people, and without him they've had to make other adjustments, I would think.
Well, of course, no Jimmy Sanderson or Kenny Black, thanks to their suspensions, so there's already some disruption to the Airdrie ranks, whereas Rangers, Billy, are obviously at full strength, and that posed a difficult problem for Walter Smith as to who to leave out. What do you make of the team he selected?
Well, with the array of players that he's got, I think it would be a difficult choice for him. I'm a little bit surprised that he's decided to leave Houstra out of the lineup at all, because I felt that he is always valuable, perhaps on the bench, to come on if things are not going right. He has the ability to go past people, he has the ability to send in some good crosses from that left-hand side, and that would suit Mark Hateley eminently.
Well, of course, I think Dale Gordon's been given that opportunity instead of Peter Houstra, who will be very disappointed, I've no doubt, but the role which may be played by Ian Durrant could be significant, Billy. What do you think he may do? Will he play wide in midfield, or may he play behind the front two?
Well, I have a little suspicion that he'll play behind the front two, because he knows that Airdrie are going to pick up at the back. They're going to try and leave a sweeper in behind. It'll be interesting to see who that is. And I think what Walter's trying to do is to make them think, to make them guess, and maybe to pull the fullbacks in a little bit so he can get his own fullbacks to operate in those big channels. He'll switch the ball about undoubtedly. He'll make Airdrie work very, very hard to contain his front players.
Now, thoughts on the Airdrie setup defensively with no Jimmy Sanderson to sweep. Walter Kidd has that kind of experience, but he's proved himself to be an excellent marker. Could it be Paul Jack sweeping?
I think that's perhaps the logical choice. I know he has played there with his previous club, and he's got a little bit of pace, and it may well be that we'll see Walter Kidd pick up Ali McCoist, because I'm quite convinced that Airdrie know the importance of Ali McCoist to Rangers. They'll want to prevent him getting an early goal, and I think Walter Kidd is as good a marker as you'll see in the game.
So the problem may well be for Airdrie to contain things early on, because that's been a downfall, as Sandy Stewart told us a few moments ago. In the matches when they've lost, they've had that problem of losing a goal early in the match. And of course, with this reorganised defence, that puts even more pressure on. Can they cope with that?
Well, it was a very honest interview, and a very forthright interview. But he's right. I think he has got, Airdrie have got to prevent Rangers from scoring early. I do have the feeling that if Rangers get an early breakthrough, then it'll be one of the most one-sided finals we'll ever have seen. If Airdrie can prevent them from doing that, they can disturb the rhythm, they can start to get the crowd a little irritable. That'll transmit itself to the Rangers players, and therefore will suit Airdrie. And I think that in the early stage of the game, Airdrie will mark very, very tightly indeed and try to prevent Rangers from building up a sequence of passes.
Well, talking of finals against Airdrie, your last match, as I recall, as a senior professional for Celtic was in the 1975 Cup final, when of course Celtic were hot favourites to play against Airdrie. Can you recall the feeling just before that match?
I've tried very, very hard in actual fact to think about that game, Jock, at different times. The only recollection I have is at the end when the other players, knowing that it was my last game, decided to cheer me off. They didn't realise how tired I was. They should have really been more careful in what they did. But that is about the only strong recollection I have of that game. As I remember it, I think that Airdrie came along, and I do believe we won quite comfortably, because I think Airdrie throws just a little bit on the occasion. I hope we don't freeze today. I hope we have a good final, and I hope we have one that is full of incident and interest.
Well, if we reflect on the importance of being in a good run, Airdrie come here from a very good run. They haven't lost since the end of March, when they lost at Aberdeen against Aberdeen. But from that point on, they've managed to win important games to finish 7th in the Premier Division. Is there a possibility that everyone is underrating them for a final like this?
It may well even be the case that Airdrie are deliberately using that ploy, that they're maybe evoking the sympathy of everyone, saying that Jimmy Sanderson's out, Kenny Black's out. We've now got Sammy Coyne, who hasn't made the starting lineup. Maybe they're playing the underdog, and they'll be looking for the sympathy of everybody. It may well be that they just catch Rangers off their guard a little bit, because if they get the opportunity, although they tend to disrupt the flow of the other team's play, they can play themselves at times, and given the opportunity, they might well do that.
Well, we're going to find out very shortly now. The 45,000 crowd taking its place now for this 107th Scottish Cup final, and Rangers looking for their 25th Cup win in their 41st appearance in the final, whereas Airdrie have won only once before. That was in 1924 when Bob McPhail played. So David Murray, the Rangers chairman, looking now to watch over what he hopes will be the first double under his stewardship. Lord McCluskey there in the foreground, arriving. He is the chairman of the Compensation Tribunal in Scotland, a very keen interest in the game, and he too is waiting to enjoy the occasion. So it's very colourful, and of course additional interest in the new strips being worn by both clubs this afternoon for the very first time. Their new contract permitting them to turn out this afternoon wearing these new outfits, which will add to the colour in the scene. So the Rangers supporters have all looked very relaxed, but I must say, Billy, when the Rangers players came out to warm up, they did look to be just a little bit tense, and I wonder if they really have got an edge on for this final. That was one of the big fears. They may be complacent, but there was no evidence of that in the manner in which they warmed up, was there?
No, I thought there was a determination about them. I think much has been said about the David and Goliath aspect. That Rangers will be very much on their guard. They've got a lot of very good professionals, good international players in their ranks. They'll be wanting to add the Scottish Cup to the League Championship they've already won. And I did detect a real positive attitude to them. However, I looked at the Airdrie players as well, Jock, and they seem very relaxed. They seem as though they are going to come here to enjoy the atmosphere. And maybe they've said to themselves, well, nobody rates us, we might as well give it a go.
Yes, they certainly did look as though they were enjoying the occasion. We had a brief glimpse there of the Scotland manager, Andy Roxburgh, taking his seat in the director's box, and clearly he will be particularly concerned with the Rangers players in his squad to go to the USA and Canada and thereafter to Sweden, so he'll be paying particular attention, I've no doubt, to the fortunes of men like Richard Gough and Stuart McCall and Ali McCoist, and hoping they don't come to any harm in this match this afternoon. So the banners waving around the stadium now as the spectators anticipate the arrival of the two teams, and this of course the moment the players have been waiting for, the chance to come out onto the pitch for real. All the build-up almost complete, and it's now down to the 90 minutes of the 10th Scottish Cup final, which will decide the destination of the trophy for this season. And with thoughts casting back to last season's cup final, Motherwell against Dundee United was a genuine classic in terms of entertainment. Will there be any possibility of a similarity this afternoon, Billy?
Well, I think there is a possibility. We've also got to consider that Airdrie, irrespective of what happens today, are in Europe. Now that is real success, and if you consider that they may well come out in a much more relaxed fashion. Rangers may well themselves be so relaxed because they've won the league, they won it convincingly, and they may well be so relaxed that they're intent on playing some good football. But I think perhaps the final might surprise us. They've got players out there that can grace the occasion, and it'll be interesting to see how the whole thing evolves.
So the occasion enhanced by the release of the balloons, the red, white and blue for Rangers, the red and white there for Airdrie, all adding to this wonderful colourful setting. And a big moment coming close up as referee Douglas Holt leads out the match officials. Hugh Dallas from Wishaw on the left, Bill Mackey from Forres on the right, and they'll be followed by the two teams, hopefully. They certainly expected to be followed by the two teams, but there's been a little bit of delay there, and Alec MacDonald and Walter Smith just checking that their players are all in position now. So two very experienced professionals, Alec MacDonald on the left, Walter Smith on the right, enjoying a chat there as they lead out the two teams. A big day too for the two mascots. The Airdrie mascot is Stephen Hannon and the Rangers mascot Stuart Angus. So there are the two teams emerging for the cup final and receiving a huge welcome. The Rangers fans on the west of the stadium, new west stand, and around the enclosure, and the Airdrie fans out in numbers on the east terracing. And it's party time already for these Airdrie supporters. So there's young Stuart Angus from Cumnock in Ayrshire, 10 years old, standing there for the opening ceremonies. His favourite player is Mark Hateley, and he's a very promising left winger. So it's a very big occasion for him, and too for young Stephen Hannon. He's 12 years old, looks a little bit more laid back. Caldervale High School is his education establishment, and he too is a very keen player. His grandfather, in fact, was the Airdrie manager Archie Wright, whom Billy McNeil, I'm certain, will remember very well indeed.
Yes, I do indeed remember Archie, but it's a lovely occasion for this young man and indeed for the Rangers mascot, because it is a big occasion, it's a glamorous occasion, and they must enjoy it to the full.
So the presentation of the SFA President Peter Gardner and the Tenants Director John Hamilton by Jim Farry through Walter Smith, the Rangers manager. So the introduction of the players. They go down the line, these tense moments for the players, certainly moments they do not relish. They'd rather see this all over and get down to the serious business. Mark Hateley playing in a Scottish Cup final for the first time. He's played in the French Cup final for Monaco and the Italian Cup final for AC Milan, and been in the losing side on each occasion. So Hateley trying to avoid a hat-trick of cup final defeats in various countries in Europe. So the officials now being introduced with the Ascot. So that was hope as the culmination of an excellent season of refereeing. He's been undoubtedly one of the top officials in the country throughout the season, and following his brother, who was a referee in the 1987 final between Swinburne and Dundee United, and he's clearly enjoying himself hugely. Well, the new Airdrie captain, Sandy Stewart, introducing his men. Well, it's unfamiliar territory this for the Airdrie captain. Hasn't had too many chances to do this, Sandy Stewart. There's Paul Jack smiling to the SFA president. Gus Caesar started his career with Arsenal, so he's been in plenty of big matches. So through to Gus Caesar there, who looked to be an outstanding defender, Billy, early in his career with Arsenal, and then seemed to lose his way a little to go to Bristol City and then up here to Airdrie.
Yes, he certainly was a promising young defender with Arsenal some years ago. That his career hasn't perhaps taken off just quite in the manner which everyone expected. But he's a big solid lad, and he'll give it his all tonight, I'm sure.
So the teams break for their respective ends, and we'll have a look here at the Airdrie team confirmation. No Jimmy Sanderson, no Kenny Black, and sadly for Sammy Conn, injury has denied him his cup final opportunity. So the Airdrie team had to be rebuilt rather. Paul Jack has come in, and apart from that, Gus Caesar had a chance to play in central defence. Andy Smith and Wes Reid are the substitutes. So for Walter Kidd, a very important occasion, one which I reckon he didn't expect to have the chance to savour following his departure from Hearts last season after 14 years service, and remember he had the misfortune to be ordered off in the 1986 Cup final when he played for Hearts against Aberdeen, so he'll be anxious to put that behind him this afternoon. So the Rangers line-up showing that there are no places in the starting line-up for Dale Gordon, for Peter Haustra. Paul Ryder also is on the bench, and that's a very powerful Rangers line-up, with Ian Durrant completing a fine comeback to top-class football by being in the starting line-up this afternoon. But for Ali McCoist, the chance for the first time to pick up a Scottish Cup winners' medal. That would be the culmination of a wonderful season. He scored 38 times for Rangers this season, and he'll be very anxious indeed to add to that total this afternoon. The Football Writers Player of the Year. He's in the international squad for Sweden. He's won another League Championship medal, and the Cup winners' medal is the only thing missing. A magnificent season. So the exchange of pennants. Richard Gough, the Rangers captain, has already been here with Rangers and with Dundee United and losing finals, and he also captained Tottenham Hotspur against Coventry City in a losing FA Cup final back in 1987, so he too has a point to prove in this season's final. So the referee, that was Hope from Askin, reporter to the children's panel, 47 years old, 10 seasons, a Grade 1 official, and ideally suited for this his big moment, refereeing the Scottish Cup final. Waiting expectantly. It's now 14 years since they enjoyed a double winning season, and they'll be looking for the climax of the season this afternoon. The Rangers will kick off. So the 107th Scottish Cup final is underway, and the Rangers send the ball straight back to Andy Gorham to give him an early touch, and he had a chance to launch one of those long balls downfield. Mark Haitley underneath that, well challenged by Gus Caesar, and the ball played long for Alan Lawrence, catching the Airdrie striker offside. But he's a major problem on these fast breaks by Airdrie. He's very quick indeed up front, Lawrence. And he'll be joined principally, I think, by Owen Coyle in attack. So Richard Gough with the free kick for Rangers. Helped on by Mikhalichenko. Here's Jimmy Boyle. Brown calls to Spackman to leave that, and Haitley was slow coming back, and already it's established, I think, Billy, that Paul Jack will sweep for Airdrie.
It looks very much like that at the minute, and
Gus Caesar will pick up Mark Hateley, and Walter Kidd, as we anticipated, will pick up Alan McCoy's. Interesting enough from Airdrie's point of view, Gus Caesar getting a good header early on against Mark Hateley. And I always used to enjoy that as a centre half, and I think it's an important thing to happen for Airdrie. So the first psychological blow struck there by Gus Caesar defensively in his marking chore on Hateley. So Airdrie filtering back to defend, and we anticipate they may do quite a lot of that early on to avoid the blow of an early goal. Eddie Kirkwood operating wide on the right. Here's Lawrence. Hustled there by Brown. That was a foul by the Rangers central defender. So it's Jimmy Boyle playing it forward early. Goff is alive to that. Spackman. Playing across here for Stevens. Stuart McCall couldn't get there ahead of Sandy Stewart. Good tackle there by Stevens. This is Spackman. And down goes McCoy. He's tackled heavily from the rear by Walter Kidd. So it's a very daunting task that for Kidd to look after McCoy all afternoon. Alan McCoy has scored 3 cup goals in the campaign so far, and leaves him 2 behind Jerry Craney in the race to be leading scorer in the cup. Mark Hateley going hurtling in there. John Martin will be happy to have that first little piece of involvement over. Coping very capably there, with Hateley putting him under pressure. Robertson up against Kirkwood. Spackman with Balfour. There's McCall. That's fine play by McCall. Stevens breaking on the right. Durant appears to have been given a free roll, and he's been picked up in the early stages by Jimmy Boyle. That's aim for Stevens, who's well forward, and tackled firmly there by Paul Jack. For that crunching challenge, making certain there was no dangerous cross for John Martin to cope with. Paul Jack signed from Arbroath, versatile player. He can play full-back in midfield, and this afternoon at sweeper. Mikhalichenko will take the corner kick. Goff and Hateley on the 18-yard line. That's towards the near post. Had to be headed away firmly and safely there by Stewart. Here's Mikhalichenko, and trying to beat Martin at the near post. There's plenty of support waiting in the middle, but Mikhalichenko, I think, tried to surprise the goalkeeper with this effort. You see him checking inside here, and Martin protecting that near post at all costs. Lovely piece of skill from Mikhalichenko, and confident as anything. He took the player on lovely, opened up about the goal for himself. Unfortunately, didn't hit the target. Helped on there by Honor, and played straight to the feet of Spackman there by Stewart. Still no way through the middle though. Airdrie grouping well in defence through the centre. So they've had to reorganise somewhat. Chris Honor playing in a midfield role, pushing forward on Mikhalichenko. There they are together. Sandy Stewart also with that task of holding a position there on Stuart McCall. Caesar getting that out of Hateley, but this is Stevens. Good running by Mikhalichenko. This time trying to play the ball in early. Dragged away to safety there by Jack. Goff keeps the ball in play. And a very safe pass back there by Jimmy Boyle, who knows this surface very well indeed, because he joined Airdrie from Queen's Park 3 years ago. So playing a lot of his football on this pitch before his transfer. Kirkwood got up well there. That's for Coyle to chase. Goff with a cross. Well, an alarming moment there for the Rangers defence. Davy Kirkwood getting up so well for that little head flick on. Richard Goff has a word or two to say to his teammates. John Brown was the player beaten there, and Coyle had a very fleeting chance there.
Walter Smith has come up with surprising tactics in actual fact, because Ian Durant's playing on the left-hand side with Mikhalichenko on the right-hand side. I honestly don't think that Airdrie, or indeed anyone else, would have anticipated that one, Joe.
And there are lots of instructions, I can tell you, coming from the Airdrie dugout below us, because they're having to cope with that surprising formation. So homework done by Walter Smith and Archie Knox, the Rangers management team, to perplex Airdrie in the early stages. So it's all rather muted at the moment here at Hampden. Neither set of supporters really in full voice as yet. Here's Spikeman trying to use the pace of David Robertson, but Kirkwood was covering that move, and he's gone back, probably passed back to John Martin. So John McVeigh on his feet, the Airdrie assistant manager, conveying the instructions, that earpiece, his contact point with Alec MacDonald in the stand. Again, Kirkwood got up well to that. There's Gary Stevens. Head clash there. Davy Kirkwood's on the ground. Hasn't recovered. His own coil breaks on the left. And John Brown is there to turn that to safety. At the expense of a throw near the corner flag. And Davy Kirkwood is still crouched there, holding his head. Took a blow there as he won that high ball. And the referee now will allow treatment, sensibly. Well, Kirkwood has done well with a couple of early headers, playing wide on the right-hand side, marking David Robertson, preventing any fast breaks by the fullback. So there's serious damage for Evan Balfour. He too was up for that high ball, and he, I'm sure, will have to leave the field, at least for a spell, to get that cleaned up. Bill Collins, the Rangers physio, has come on to attend to him because there's attention required also for Davy Kirkwood. So Balfour will have to leave the field for the moment to have the blood removed. Under the FIFA regulations, any blood-stained player must be cleaned up before he can return. So Airdrie continue with 10 men. Spikeman's header. Swept away by Stevens. And Walter Kidd going for that in determined fashion. It is a new lease of life for Walter Kidd, who spent his career at Tynecastle as a right back, but has turned out to be a very effective marking central defender. Evan Balfour is down below us now, anxious to come back on. A plaster on his head. The referee will have to wait perhaps until the play is halted. The referee has spotted Balfour, but he won't allow him back on the field as yet. Now he's allowed him back as Gough plays it forward. There's McCoist, turning and jinking away from Walter Kidd. No real power in the shot though. The chip one beyond John Martin and advanced off his line. So the keeper calms things down. There's Balfour. Couldn't get to that. There goes Gough. Here's Kirkwood. Durant comes back to challenge. So Alan Lawrence is on the ground this time for Airdrie. He's holding his head as he gets back to his feet. The throw there from Robertson. This is Mikhalichenko. Holding off Chris Honor, his marker. Durant back to Mikhalichenko. Such a good touch on the ball normally, Mikhalichenko. That pass though inaccurate, allowing Boyle to play it through the middle to catch Owen Coyle offside. Coyle is the Airdrie top scorer of the season with 14 goals, a very good return for his first season in Premier Division football. Consistent level for Airdrie. There's Haitley going for that. He's well challenged by Caesar. There's still danger for Airdrie as McCall tries to turn that towards goal. But another very good challenge, Billy, by Caesar on Haitley.
Yes, he's a determined boy, and he's getting up there. He's putting in a good challenge here. He didn't allow Mark Haitley to get a clear touch of the ball. Almost a little error there. Nice little bit of idea from Stuart McCall, but obviously too high. Interestingly enough, before the game started, I would have thought Ian Durant would have been given a free role. It looks as though Mikhalichenko has been given that role, and Ian Durant's going to play a more positive role on the left-hand side.
So Jimmy Boyle, who is marking Ian Durant, been getting lots of advice from the dugout from John McVeigh. Here's David Robertson, his first chance in the match to demonstrate the length of his throw. Looking for Haitley. Cleared by Jack. This is Kirkwood, he couldn't control that. A little bit of dampness on the surface, which may prove troublesome. And the offside flag up against Mark Hateley. So Hateley has certainly been offering lots of mobility up front early on for Rangers. Closely marked by Gus Caesar there. Played it away by Brown. Caesar again, first to the ball, ahead of Hateley. There's Jack. Well, they won't be happy with that pass. It was intended to pick up Alan Lawrence, who had broken to the right flank. So Jack calling there to Davy Kirkwood. Didn't like his positioning for the moment. So Airdrie have certainly set the problems for Rangers. The Ibrox men are trying now to solve. Good running there by Brown. And the last challenge with a vital one. There's Mikhalichenko. And Ali McCoist complaining bitterly there to Mikhalichenko that he wasn't clear to receive a pass in the inside right position. And Mikhalichenko going for this with his weaker foot, the right. But it was Brown who opened up the area defence with that surging run. He then tried to thread that through from McCoist. It broke back for Mikhalichenko. You can see McCoist there in the clear.
Yeah, McCoist will be just a little bit disappointed that Mikhalichenko didn't pass to him, but I think the temptation for a shot from the edge of the box is always there, and he came on to it. Unfortunately for him, it was his wrong foot.
Durant plays it back. Airdrie funnel off the Rangers back four as soon as Goff or Brown in possession. The Airdrie players drop right back deep into their own half. A foul there by Coyle on Goff. Coyle trying to go across and shut off Gary Stevens whenever Rangers have possession deep inside their own half. It's all been carefully thought out before the match by Ali MacDonald and John McVeigh, the Airdrie management team. Their entire line-up this afternoon costing less than £500,000. Here's Alan Lawrence. That's good play by Lawrence. Very confident play by Alan Lawrence, and that was the first clear opening of the match. And the Rangers defence certainly looked to be just a little bit slack here as Lawrence kept on coming, turning and twisting there to fool John Brown, and the shot wasn't far away.
Yes, it's a good piece of skill from Alan Lawrence. This is him at his best, running at a defender, good bit of pace, shows composure, goes across the face of a defender and not all that far away with his shot.
There's Mikhalichenko. And good work done again by Davy Kirkwood, halting the progress of David Robertson. Former Rangers player Kirkwood, albeit briefly. Caesar again getting up well against Hateley. And that snap chance falling to Mark Hateley as he fell over, but he certainly knows he's going to have a tough match this afternoon against Gus Caesar.
Yes, Airdrie have started, obviously when Rangers have the ball, they filter back and they try to deny Stevens room on the right-hand side, and Kirkwood is preventing Robertson from breaking in this side. But when they get the ball, either Owen Coyle or Alan Lawrence, they're trying to get right on the shoulder of either central defender. We saw Alan Lawrence get the break there, pick up the ball and run at John Brown. I think that's what their tactics are going to be.
Coyle hoisting it forward, but the Rangers back four holding its line and leaving Lawrence and Coyle offside as we approach the 15-minute mark. And for Airdrie, I reckon so far things going according to plan. They've avoided a very early goal, and that was the first task facing the Broomfield men. Walter Smith looking a little bit stern there, looking on. And it's well taken by Martin. Paul Jack offers himself ahead and allows the Airdrie players to take a breather and push upfield. So John Martin, 12 years the Airdrie goalkeeper, came from Tranent Juniors, real character in goal and a very effective player in the Airdrie season, which has been so successful. And David Robertson quite content to let that run for a goal kick to Rangers. But some very interesting confrontations on the field. John Martin still to be seriously tested in the match, and he'll be happy to have overcome the opening nervous moments. Gorham's first Scottish Cup final. Boyle up there with Durant. Here's Haitley. Tackle was made by Balfour. It breaks for Spackman. Here's Mikhalichenko trying to help that on for Durant. Coyle going back there. He'd been marking Gary Stevens whenever Rangers had possession. So really the only Airdrie player with no defensive duties appears to be Alan Lawrence, playing right through the middle, trying to pose problems for Gough and Brown. Caesar getting up well again, competing physically in the air with Haitley. He was being penalised that time. Free kick's already taken. There's Durant. Stevens finding space, faced by Coyle. 10 Airdrie players now facing the ball. Only Lawrence in the centre circle. And a misunderstanding there between Stevens and Durant. Durant wanted the ball to feet, and Stevens thought he was going to make a run on the right flank. Gough got his head to that. There's Spackman. Once again, David Robertson being followed by Kirkwood. Good cover provided also by Paul Jack. That's a free kick. David Robertson going in late on Paul Jack. Well, a very unhappy semi-final when he's ordered off after just 6 minutes against Celtic. But this time he was frustrated, I think, by the fact that the pass didn't run for him. Paul Jack taking it across his bows. There's Brown. Mikhalichenko's header. McCall across to Stevens. Durant going forward on the right. So Durant now trying to find a teammate inside. It's McCoist he finds. Back from Stevens to McCall. There's no one on the left. Robertson has stayed deep, marked by Kirkwood. Set up well there by Stewart. Spackman and a challenge there. It breaks kindly for Rangers. There's Stevens. McCoist dummy, there's McCall, and Jimmy Boyle steps in. Fine move that though by Rangers. McCoist dummy set up the chance to open up the Airdrie defence. Kirkwood getting the better of David Robertson there. He's not very tall, Davy Kirkwood, but he does time his leaps well. He's done a good job so far in pinning down David Robertson when Rangers have the ball. It's been a feature of the play, Billy, that the Rangers fullbacks really haven't had a chance to come forward.
No, there isn't any real width about Rangers at the moment, and they can't get their fullbacks out of defence. On this side, Kirkwood has done a smashing job, but Owen Coyle has been asked to break from his centre forward spot and go across there and accommodate Gary Stevens. It takes a lot of fitness to do that, and I wonder if it will take from him a little bit of positive front running that you would expect from a centre forward.
So further tinkering tactically by Rangers. Durant has now moved to the right hand side of a three-man midfield with Spackman and McCall who hold the middle, and Sandy Stewart has taken over the duty of looking after Durant. Mikhalichenko still with that free roll. Here's McCoist leading that to Durant. It's played in early and won by Jack. Kirkwood getting it just ahead of Brown. Could have been nasty, but neither player seriously hurt, although both Brown and Kirkwood took a knock there. Haitley's head up, looking for McCoist. And the challenge was made by Walter Kidd. A very important one, that right inside the penalty box, where McCoist is at his most dangerous. But here's the combination. Haitley getting up for this, looking for McCoist, and Kidd did an excellent defensive job. Durant taking the short corner this time to Spackman. Gough is there with Haitley. Both up for that, and a missed kick by McCoist. Must have seen that very late indeed. There's Stuart McCall. Martin is fully committed to this. Well, needed 2 chances to hold the ball, but he certainly solved any problems for his teammates in defence. Well, Ali McCoist had that snap chance there, but he couldn't get his left foot on the ball. Gough's head up. There's McCall. Karachenko allowing Onarth the challenge for that in the air, and the free kick's been given for the foul by Boyle on McCall. It's a new duel created by the Rangers tactical alteration. Boyle with McCall this time. Spackman forward, there's Sandy Stewart with Ian Durrant. Durrant looking for a foul there, he's not going to get one though. Jack plays it from defence. There's John Brown. So Airdrie performing their containing job so far, Billy, extremely well.
Yes, from a containing point of view, they have performed very well. We did have a couple of Hateley headers that almost set up chances for Alan McCoist, but in the main Airdrie have caught quite well. They haven't done enough lot in the attacking sense.
Another chance for them in the attacking sense. Coyle charging forward. Going down there and not even insulting the referee by appealing there for a foul, or a penalty rather. Timmy Boyle. I think he tried to surprise Andy Gorham with that effort. A very good servant, Boyle, to Airdrie. 3 good seasons. Came here as an orthodox right back following his Queen's Park career. And has shown his versatility since then. There's Brown. Robertson's gone forward this time. Brown coming from the back. Turn pass attempted there by McCoist, but the cover was there for Airdrie from Paul Jack. And I wonder, Billy, if Rangers sending one of the central defenders forward could make that extra man to open up the Airdrie defence.
Well, they're going to be asked to do that, and that's that job, because Rangers are going to, Airdrie rather, are going to pick up whenever they're not in possession, and it's going to be difficult for Rangers to break that down if they don't have movement from the back. And indeed, I think they've got to maybe create a bit more width than they've been doing.
Here's Davy Kirkwood. Coyle has switched to the right, trying to get the better there of Durrant. He knew it would be an Airdrie throw. So we're midway through the first half, and there's still no scoring in the Tennant Scottish Cup final. So Owen Coyle looking for space inside the penalty area. Chris Honor also there. It's won well by Brown. There's Kirkwood playing it in low this time. It almost found his way through, and the Rangers defence very happy to scramble that to safety. Boyle shot, closed down there and blocked by Goff, but Airdrie enjoying a good spell of pressure here. And that cross brings it to an end though. David Robertson getting a call to Andy Gorham, let that run. But for a moment there, the Rangers defence looked to be in some trouble. Came from the throw, came back from John Brown. This is a very good ball, played in low. The dummy attempted inside the area, and still it wouldn't run kindly for Airdrie. And the shot in the end from Boyle, well blocked by Goff.
That's exactly what Airdrie are after. They want to contain Rangers, and every now and then they'll hit them on the break. A good ball from David Kirkwood almost opened an opportunity up for them.
John Brown had to be careful there, and forcing Gorham to sprint. No sign there of that knee problem Gorham has been suffering from, which requires treatment to ensure he can join Scotland in the European Championships in Sweden next month. And here's Richard Goff trying to pick out an accurate pass. It's not at all easy. The marking is so diligent and so tight among the Airdrie defenders. Now you can criticise Richard Goff for that, but you must really give credit to the Airdrie defenders who made his task so difficult.
I think Airdrie will be quite happy leaving Rangers with the ball at the back, and then they'll pick up and they'll make passes difficult, and they'll hope that perhaps Richard Goff or John Brown might get a bit careless and they'll steal the ball from them and maybe pounce on an open chance.
We saw Archie Knox there on the track, the Rangers assistant manager. Clearly there is some anxiety felt in the Rangers management at the moment. Paul playing that into space, hoping to pick out a run from Ian Durrant, but he miscued the pass. So Karachenko has now switched to a wide left position in midfield. Durrant's wide right, and that may be answering the problem posed there by Billy McNeill about width in the Rangers ranks.
Yeah, I think so. At the moment, I think Walter Smith is probably just a little bit concerned. He's having more problem with the tactics than Airdrie are. Airdrie are straightforward. They're going to mark, leave Paul Jack in at the back and try to hit Rangers on the break.
The long angle ball there from John Brown, helped on by Hateley for Spackman, who's been a very good run wide on the right. trying to get the ball across. Mikhalichenko trying to control it, and Jimmy Boyle turns that back. Can Martin keep the ball in play? Linesman Bill Macri said he did. John Martin clearly believes he did. He's even managed to produce a smile at this stage in the final. That's always a healthy sign. Jimmy Boyle with that lofted pass back. So John Martin still not yet called upon in the match to perform any heroics. We've had 26.5 minutes of the first half without any goals. Up goes David Robertson, win that from Kirkwood. And you wonder too if the confidence will be rising in the Airdrie ranks. They've coped so well so far in the match, produced a couple of recent attacks, and enjoying the role, I think, as underdogs. Jack lofting it forward. Kirkwood was offside on the near side, but Airdrie clearly did a lot of talking before the match about the importance of not conceding an early goal. Have achieved that. There's instructions there coming from John McVeigh to Davy Kirkwood. But if Airdrie were low in confidence, Billy, that must have changed.
It certainly has. I think they've come along here, so nobody's given us a chance. We're going to do the things that we're good at. We're going to frustrate Rangers when they're in possession. We're going to have a little go at them every now and then.
Head flick on there by Haitley. Martin goes across to Garda. Ian Durant was the Rangers player, trying to create a problem for him. Well, it really has been a tremendous comeback by Ian Durant. He's started to show some excellent form in recent weeks, suggesting that he's not far from his best, his pre-October 1988 form. He came by that dreadful knee injury. Here's McCall. Played along there by Boyle. That's a good pass. Lawrence is in behind Brown. Kirkwood's in the middle. Lawrence looks up. Tackled firmly by Brown. But again, there's encouragement for the Airdrie players and for their supporters. The Rangers defence appeared to be opened up rather easily once again. One long pass, and the pace of Lawrence gave them a chance. John Brown took a knock earlier in the match. He doesn't appear to have shrugged that off completely. And indeed, Paul Rideout has appeared from the dugout with Dale Gordon to do some warming up. And I wonder if John Brown may struggle to remain on the field. He's taken a thigh knock there. It'll be difficult to run off. Looking at the dugout, indicating that he doesn't want to know about coming off at this stage. He wants the chance to run the injury off. There's clearly anxiety on the bench about that Brown damage. Well, Billy, looks to be a familiar type of injury in the thigh. Can he run this off?
Well, it looks to be troubling him quite a bit. I wonder at Rangers' choice of substitutes. Now I know because Paul Rideout can play at the defence as well as we've seen him, so he can have a go at the back. And that's perhaps why Walter opted for him rather than Hoostra.
Then long there by Kirkwood. There's Owen Coyle trying to find Lawrence with a header. Brown turns it back. Well, his own courage and determination may be foolhardy. Walter Smith has appeared now on the bench, and I think he may be making a decision for John Brown. Brown, a determined character who certainly lacks nothing in terms of courage, and he will want to remain in the field in this cup final, that's for sure, but I don't think the Rangers management will permit that. He's limping heavily, Brown. Paul Rideout has been warming up, and Walter Smith has clearly come down to assess the position from trackside. Here's David Robertson, a stumble by Kirkwood. Robertson plays it in low. Haitley! Rangers take the lead. Right on the half-hour mark. A very unfortunate slip by Davy Kirkwood at a vital moment, allowing David Robertson to set up Haitley for his goal number 23 of the season. Well, you'll see here, Davy Kirkwood was with David Robertson, and he slipped as the ball was in the air. He couldn't make a challenge. Robertson had time to pick out an accurate ball inside, and Haitley took the chance brilliantly.
It's a marvellous pass here, and Kirkwood, it's a bad opportunity for him to slip in that case, but look at the space that Mark Haitley had. You know, if you're marking
Gus Caesar must look at that and wonder where he got to, because he's allowed a very dangerous centre forward loose inside the box and he's paid the full penalty.
Yes, Hateley running off Gus Caesar, who had performed so well in the early stages of the match, but Hateley isn't likely to miss a chance like that, and the pressure suddenly eases in the Rangers ranks. And indeed now it sets Airdrie a very serious problem. The feeling always was that if Rangers could score reasonably early in the match, Airdrie would have a very tough struggle, and that's the way it's proved. It's the 5th match between the clubs this season, and Rangers have won comfortably on 3 occasions without conceding a goal, and then there was 1 0-0 draw at Broomfield when Oleg Kuznetsov was ordered off in January. But Rangers now will be thinking of no doubt in terms of a second before half-time, because that surely would have the effect of settling the match. So John Brown still on the field. Ironic that Rangers should score at a time when there was so much anxiety about Brown's fitness. That's where all the attention was drawn from the Rangers bench at the time. But he must have some sympathy for the former Rangers player Davy Kirkwood, who was denied the chance of challenging David Robertson by a very unfortunate slip. First time Robertson has been in a good open wide position in attack for Rangers in the match, and it's produced the opening goal. David Robertson already has a cup winners' medal 2 years ago for Aberdeen against Celtic. So Goff sending it along, looking for Hateley. This time Caesar wasn't close enough to Hateley once again. Mikhalichenko. That's good running by Mikhalichenko and a good effort. Well taken by Martin, who kept his body behind the shot, but Mikhalichenko showing his skill and expertise here, running off Chris Honor on his right foot.
Yes, once again Mikhalichenko gets in a good shot here, straight at the goalkeeper certainly, but a good powerful shot nevertheless. Interesting point. Whatever anxiety Rangers might have had earlier on has disappeared. That goal has worked wonders for them. They're a yard quicker in the step, and they're finding the men with their passes now.
This is a really important phase in the match for Airdrie. They cannot afford to lose another goal before half-time if they're to retain any genuine hopes. And here's a chance on, but Owen Coyle is offside. Took the little layoff there from Lawrence. But the linesman Hugh Dallas below us had the flag up. No argument from Coyle. Well, Rangers appear to be content to leave John Brown on the field for the moment. Paul Rideout has replaced his tracksuit bottoms, and that position will be assessed, I've no doubt, at the interval. The goal, of course, taking some of the pressure off, and Durant's pace forcing Jack to concede the corner. Troubled moments these for Airdrie after an excellent opening half hour. They now face a 1-goal deficit. Spackman back to Durant. Hateley getting up for that. That's when he's so dangerous. He's thoroughly frustrated, Mark Hateley. He clearly believed he should have done better on that position. A good angled cross this. Hateley attacking the ball and they're getting up so well. And he clearly feels he should have scored.
Yes, it's a marvellous cross. You can see it all the way. He certainly knows that he should have hit the target with that one, because he's got the ability to do that. But 1 goal in the cup final, he'll be happy for the moment. A touch on there by Balfour. There's Mikhalichenko. The long pass back will reach Andy Gorham ahead of Alan Lawrence. Hateley's layoff. Here's McCoy busting away from Kidd, trying to chip that across towards Ian Durant. Difficult on this surface. Very true, but the film of Reese on the top after all the rain, and Owen Coyle clearly irate about that offside decision. That applies also, I can tell you, to the Airdrie bench. John McVeigh coming off his seat, going
somewhat berserk, having to be controlled by Hugh Williamson, the fourth official, down at the tunnel area. O'Brien appears to be running a little more freely now. We have a session of treatment at half-time. Layoff from McCoist. That's McCall. Turned back safely by Chris Honor, doing his marking role on Mikhailichenko. That's proved to be tough this afternoon. John McVeigh still looking very upset and stern there, the assistant manager. That came off Robertson's head. In goes ball towards Spackman. Plenty of time here for Richard Gough. Well, the long cup famine could be over for Rangers. And Balfour has stemmed that flow of blood from the side of his head. Durant going deep. Rangers now perfectly happy to stroke the ball around and retain possession. The problems following that Hateley goal are all with Airdrie. So Rangers can have all the patience in the world. Here's Gough. Running the clock back, coming from that right back position. Here's Gary Stevens taking the pass from McCall. Well, the Airdrie defence was undoubtedly opened up completely there by the run made by Gary Stevens and the excellent pass from Stuart McCall. And it's turned away there for the corner. Double Jack marshalling his defence again. Durant sending it across. Off goes Brown. There's McCoist. Well, a complete miscue there by Ali McCoist. He'll be very disappointed with that. It was a good opening by his standards. You see the ball breaks here from John Brown. There's time, there's space, but it was rather mulled there by Ali McCoist.
It's a little touch on from John Brown, and it's a good chance. And you would think a goal scorer like Ali might have hit the target there with a bit more power.
There's good running to the right by Hateley. He's away from Caesar. They're queuing in the middle of the Rangers. And it's too close to Martin. McCall was waiting, so was McCoist. Well, Mark Hateley again proving so troublesome to the Airdrie defence. So strong here. Shrugging off the challenge from Caesar. And the cross, a disappointing one in the end. Headed away there by Brown for an Airdrie throw. The scoreline tells the story. Mark Hateley getting the goal on the half-hour mark. It's too far ahead there of Alan Lawrence. The ball skidding away off the surface. So it's a very difficult task Alan Lawrence faces this afternoon, trying to occupy Richard Gough and John Brown all by himself through the middle. They may think about changing that in the second half with this remain behind. A bit of rainfall now at Hampden. We've had all the seasons really in the one day so far. McCall holding off Boyle. There's Hateley. Played long by Boyle, and Lawrence is caught offside. Running off his marker too early there. Gough and Brown very confident to hold the line in defence. Brown playing that forward, and Robertson denied the chance of reaching it by the presence of the sweeper Paul Jack for Airdrie. Back goes Gough to collect for Rangers again. Well, with the score 1-0 to Rangers, this kind of possession poses no problems for Rangers. Just 5 minutes remaining in the first half, and a very important 5-minute period. A goal at either end in that phase of the game could have such a bearing on the outcome. Good free kick taken by McCoist. He's frustrated though by the fact that it was taken from a position about 5 yards away from the incident. Taken quickly again. Robertson's cross, up goes McCoist. The offside flag is up. It may have been McCoist, it may have been Hateley. Either way, it's a free kick to Airdrie.
It's a real testing time for Airdrie now, because just when they looked as though they had conquered Rangers, got them wondering what to do, they lost the goal. Rangers look much quicker, much sharper, much more confident now. Chances are coming to them. Airdrie's really got to dig in there, hold on until half-time, see what inspiration they can derive from half-time talk about Alan McDonald, and hopefully make a game of it in the second half.
Kirkwood again doing a good job in the air, getting in front of David Robertson to head flick that on. The unlucky Airdrie player who stumbled at the wrong moment and allowed Robertson to set up the opening goal for Haitley. That's in behind Walter Kidd. Haitley goes across, followed by Caesar. Haitley attempting the cross, he has it on the corner. Well, he's more than just the big target man, Mark Haitley. He has a fair amount of skill on the ground and he's very quick indeed. The Rangers supporters out to enjoy the occasion. They're in by Durant. Up goes Haitley. Pressurised by Evan Balfour, and it was Haitley's header that sent the ball behind. It's a goal kick to Airdrie. Well, Haitley is the principal danger at the moment to the Airdrie defence, Billy.
Yes, he lost his marker to score the goal, which would obviously boost his confidence somewhat. And he certainly has got over the early part of the game. He's meeting the ball well in the air, and when he starts to win those balls that are provided into him, he'll make opportunities for Alan Boyce. But over the piece, Rangers now look about a yard quicker than they did at the start of the game.
Frustration again for Alan Lawrence, who's been flagged offside once again. So Rangers playing with that flat back four, coming to no grief as yet. So a squally shower here at Hampden, as that ball is off the head of Haitley, says the referee. It's a goal kick to Airdrie. So the aerial shot of Hampden. 45,000 only inside the stadium. That's the capacity with the refurbishment going on. It's helped on by Balfour, then by Coyle. There's Mikhailchenko. In goes Balfour again. Coyle. Brown underneath that. He was definitely bumped. Well, the ball's in the air by Lawrence. The referee spotted that. And the sun has returned after that very brief shower of rain. Just adding to the difficulties on the surface. A little bit of extra grease on the top now. Goff coming to meet that bravely. There's Gus Caesar. Robertson takes over, allows Brown to have a breather. So it's back with Andy Gorham. And Rangers appear to be content with what they have in the first half. What they have is the only goal so far. Up goes Spackman. David Robertson lashing the ball high through the middle. It's troublesome for Paul Jack. Boyle there with McCall. Good play by McCall. Unlucky with the pass wide for Stevens. Both former Everton players. Stevens with his medal for Everton, and McCall with a loser's medal, despite scoring twice against Liverpool 3 years ago. So in the final minute of the first half, Rangers leading by 1-0. And Airdrie content, I reckon, to go in at half-time, trailing by that solitary goal. Any real prospect of coming back from losing another, I reckon, so they've dug in again defensively. And that will allow Alec MacDonald to sort things out at half-time to see if tactics should be altered for a second half comeback. So we're now going into time added on for injuries in the first half. There was a little bit of that early on. A couple of head knocks. Evan Balfour requiring to leave the field for a plaster and a cut on the side of the head. Maybe Kirkwood also needed some treatment, so there may be a minute or so to go. Haitley and Caesar couldn't get to that. McCall sets up McCoist. That's a good effort by McCoist! And deadly finishing pays off once again for Rangers. Right on the half-time whistle, that may well be the killer goal in the final. And the quality of the pass should be savoured also when we see the replay of this goal. McCoy is getting his 39th goal of the season. The clearance from the Airdrie defence, indecisive. Two players getting each other away. But look at this ball, played quickly by McCall. Into space from McCoy, on his left foot, and Martin hadn't a hope. What an excellent goal.
It's a good strike by Alan McCoy, but Airdrie made a real mistake there. Indecisive in defence, and they paid the full penalty. It's my feeling that the cup is only going to go one place now.
So McCoy's comes off. The half-time whistle has gone. Mark Hateley broke the deadlock in half an hour, and he took the pass from David Robertson to open the scoring for Rangers after what had been an excellent opening half hour for Airdrie. But that all changed when Rangers took the lead after half an hour. This pass from Spackman. Kirkwood slipped, Robertson chested the ball down, Hateley lost his marker, and that turned the game Rangers' way. From that point on, Airdrie seemed to be determined to hang on to a one-goal deficit, but Ali McCoy's had other ideas with an excellent goal, which may well turn out to be the one which puts the match beyond Airdrie. So at half-time, it's Rangers in the driving seat. It's Airdrie 0, Rangers 2.
Well, if Airdrie were long odds against before the start of this final, the odds must be even longer now with that half-time lead for Rangers. A very comfortable lead, but Derek, one would have to say there was a spell when it didn't look as if Rangers would take the lead at all.
I think Airdrie started the game very well, Dougie. They were determined not to give Rangers anything for the first 15-20 minutes, and that's the way it worked out. They blocked out Hateley and McCoy's, made Rangers play the long ball all the time. I think Rangers' problem is they're not getting anybody wide. Gary Stevens and David Robertson haven't really got down there enough to get cross balls into the middle. Airdrie were doing well, and really the sucker punch here with Mark Hateley, a little slip, 1-0, and I don't think Rangers have a look back since.
Murdo, Airdrie must have been pleased at how much pressure they were able to put the Rangers defence under at the early stage of the game.
That's right, the game didn't start with Rangers onslaught and Airdrie defending. I felt Rangers started very nervously, and Airdrie, they probably made the better chances, and probably against the run of play slightly at the time, the Rangers scored, but since then it's been, I think, one-way traffic.
Yeah. Let's take a look at the goal which puts Rangers into the lead then, as Murdo says. It came pretty well against the run of play at that stage, but a very nice ball in from David Robertson after the cross from Spackman, obviously, or the crossfield ball. And a very simple goal in the end, Murdo.
Yes, it was great running by Mark Hateley. He came from the middle of the goal, he's got to the front post. Yeah, it's an easy chance in the end up. And that's the type of goals he's been scoring all season. He's always there or thereabouts.
He just lost his marker, and it was easy from there. Lovely ball this from Nigel Spackman, though, Derek.
It is, and it's his so-called wrong foot, the left one. Davy Kirkwood would be a bit disappointed there. It wasn't the greatest ball out. It went through the legs of Jack there, but Hateley, always good strikers. There was one at the back post, one at the near post. He got there and stuck it in the net. Great run to the near post to lose his man out. And as easy as you like, John Martin anticipating that he was going to miss the ball, but Hateley certainly doesn't miss from there.
Yeah. I think the first goal, were Rangers to score it, was always going to be fairly decisive. You could never see Airdrie coming back if they went behind, really. But from that point on, they fought hard, but they haven't really looked as if they're going to come back into the game, have they?
The one half chance when Alan Lawrence went through and hit it wide, and Rangers have been caught square a couple of times at the back. I think Alex McDonald would see that at half time. Let's get the long ball over the top, because with his pace anything can happen. They're certainly now out the game at 2-0. It's obviously very difficult for Airdrie. You've got to fancy Rangers strongly, but the heads have got to stay up. If the heads go down for Airdrie, this could be 4 or 5-0 easy.
Yeah, do you see it that way, Murdo?
Yeah, I think Airdrie had to score first today. We were sitting here after half an hour and we said it would not be surprised if Airdrie scored.
Yes.
But Rangers, as we said, went up the park and scored, and I think there's no way back.
Yeah.
And the killer blow was just there with Ali.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at it. It came just as the semi-final goal against Celtic did, immediately before half-time, which, as everyone knows, is just the killer time. And maybe John Martin a bit unlucky because it bounced right in front of him, which makes it very hard for a keeper to do anything about.
But it's a good shot, Dougie. It's like when you're heading a ball, you always head the ball down into net. It's always difficult for a keeper. But John's been saving that sort of ball all season. He's got to save this one for the final. It's just bobbled up over his hands. But it's a great strike by McCoy. So we haven't really seen much of him in the first half. He's been played out the game, but they are. Just a second. Great ball by McCall in the first place. Loses his marker for a second, and there it is. The ball's in the back of the net.
Striker's instinct, Murdo, because it's tempting to take another touch there if you're the striker, but
that's right.
You hit it first time.
The way Ali's been playing all season, he hits everything and it ends up in the back of the net. No, but I'm quite a wee bit surprised with their defence. I think the two of them, McCoist and Haitley, have both managed to get away from the markers quite easily. That's not happened to Airdrie all season.
Is that maybe Jimmy Sanderson's absence?
I think they miss the influence of him at the back.
Yes.
No matter who comes in, Jimmy Sanderson's been playing that position all season, playing it very well, and I think today they do miss him.
That's right, he's the organiser at the back, really.
That's right, and he calms everything down, he gets organises, he gets defenders tightly to the strikers, and I think today they've maybe stood off him 2 yards and they've been punished for it.
Maybe Walter Smith might be thinking at half-time, all right, then we haven't played that well in the first half, we've got a 2-goal lead, let's go to town in the second half. Do you see it that way?
Well, I think they'll be more relaxed, Rangers, now that they've got the 2 goals behind them. But I think they'll be thinking to themselves, there's no way Airdrie is going to score 3 goals. I would like to think they'll get wide and get more balls into the box for the likes of Haitley, because at first Gus Caesar played him very well the first 10-15 minutes, then he got the better of him. If we're going to see goals, then I think Haitley's going to score them.
OK, well, we'll be back for the second half live here at Hampden, of course, but now let's turn our attention to the FA Cup final at Wembley. And Ronnie Moran, in fact, leading out the Liverpool team. Graham Souness, as you can see, was there. He did make it, but he didn't lead out the side. He left that to Ronnie Moran. Let's see the highlights of the first half. John Motson and Trevor Brooking.
Mulby, Nicol. Swung wide by Mulby, beautifully to Ray Houghton, number 8. Michael Thomas a forward, but in space, Michael Thomas shoots, holds his head for skying it, but Tony Norman was very quick to his feet.
Typical Liverpool move, was it? Ray Houghton comes inside on his right foot so well, just flicks it with the outside of his foot. Thomas making that deep run and tries to lift it over Norman because he's so close to him.
David Rush. Davenport, Gary Hours sprinting up on the right-hand side. They've got 2 in there. This is Hours. He found the position superbly.
Well, he got great lungs. He gets up and down the pitch, whether midfield or fullback. Superb ball by Davenport. Now, he's got so much time. If he just looked up beyond look at the far post there, Armstrong. I mean, that was a nothing ball. It wasn't a cross or a shot.
Well, that was an interception by Gordon Armstrong from Rob Jones. Davenport's on the far side. This is Byrne. Davenport making a run now. Byrne plays it wide again. Armstrong wasn't quite ready for it. Byrne remonstrates with Armstrong for that. This is Rogan now. Davenport holds it up well usually. Rogan. Oh, a skidder. Bruce Grobbelaar from Anton Rogan. And Grobbelaar may have collided with the post.
Yeah, he's just hit the back of his head there. Got a lovely left foot, Rogan. This one just bounces nastily, and you can see the thud there. That's a nasty whack. Mentioned that Bruce Grobbelaar was a bit nervous beforehand. I mean, it's an important game for Liverpool, but particularly for Bruce Grobbelaar as well, because there has been questions about whether they're looking at a goalkeeper, and he knows he needs an important game like this, a big match.
Short to Byrne. It's Kevin Ball at the back there. Byrne! Oh, he was onside, and what a good chance for the man. Liverpool were sleeping a bit, weren't they?
Well, it was a half clearance. Everyone challenges, and a great header comes back across, and normally John Byrne would compose himself.
So there we are, goalless at half-time at Wembley. Hard to tell from brief highlights, Murdo, but Sunderland look to be giving as good as they're getting anyway, don't they?
That's right, that was a great chance at the end there. Again, it's been balanced the whole time, and Liverpool could be caught square at the back.
That's right. Nasty injury for Bruce Grobbelaar though, Derek. He took quite a sore one against the post, didn't he?
What it was, he tried to make the most of it, didn't he? And his shoulder hit the post, but he was up a couple of minutes later and reared to go. But it's like everything else, Dougie, a game like that, the longer it goes on, as Murdo was saying earlier, the more chance you've got of a shot.
That's right, and we've seen so many of them in the FA Cup final over the years, of course. That too, of course, will go to extra time and penalties if required. Let me remind you once again that we are running the Man of the Match competition to win a trip to Sweden for the Scotland-Holland game in Gothenburg. The number to dial, 0891 88, 1991. You've seen 45 minutes of football. Who do you think might be the man of the match? The sponsors' man of the match, which will be announced obviously at the final whistle. The people who have chosen the correct player will then all be drawn together, and one will win a trip to Gothenburg. Now, that is Billy and Carol Cumming, just on the right of the picture there. There's Billy and Carol sitting alongside him. They are from Coolgardie, Western Australia. As you may have seen earlier on in the programme, we linked them up with their family in Airdrie. They thought they were still in Western Australia. They were in the room next door. They've all been reunited, did a great night last night, and they're here to see the Tennant Scottish Cup final live. Lovely story, and they'll perhaps have mixed feelings about the result, because Billy, of course, is a Rangers fan, wife Carol is an Airdrie fan, so maybe that's why they weren't talking to each other at half-time. You don't see it changing though, Derek?
I don't think so, no. I mean, there's always a chance. I mean, if Airdrie come out and really have a go, but I think, on the other hand, Alex McDonald will be saying, hey, we're not going to be whipping boys here. Let's still keep it tight at the back and not get a real doing.
Difficult one, really, because they can tighten it up and settle for a 2-0, or they can have a go and maybe go down 5-0.
That's right. I think they're caught in the middle, as you say, but I think Rangers now will be so relaxed. You know, the pressure's off them. The ones Robertson coming forward all the time on the left-hand side, which he didn't really do in the first half. I think he'll be coming up the whole game. Gary Stevens at the other side will be coming down the park, and they'll put him under a lot more pressure.
OK, well, the first 10 or 15 minutes clearly will be vital in the second half. Rangers leading by 2-0 in this Tennant Scottish Cup final. Let's rejoin Billy McNeill and Jock Brown.
Thank you, Dougie, and a measure of the problems facing Airdrie for this second half. The fact that in no cup final since the war has any team come back in a final from 2 goals behind. In fact, if my memory serves me right, the last time it happened was 61 years ago when Celtic came back from 2-0 against Motherwell and forced a replay, which they managed to win. So that's the measure of the task facing Airdrie for this second half. And the way the game was developing after the opening goal for Rangers, Billy, you can't see too much prospect of a comeback.
No, I think it's difficult for Airdrie to change their tactics, Jock. The tactics they've used all season to pick up tight, to mark tight, to not give an awful lot away. They've worked for them. It's difficult to see how they can throw them aside and get a result, because if they go away from the marking game that they've played, they'll open up acres of space for Rangers, and the way Rangers have now started to play will be bad for them and very, very difficult indeed. It's a difficult one. In some ways I feel sorry for them, because they had performed very well in the early part of the game. It just looked when they were getting into it, they lost a goal, and the second goal was really down to good finishing by Alan McCoy, certainly, but some very, very indecisive defending.
So there are no changes in either lineup for the start of the second half. John Brown has reappeared for Rangers, who carried that thigh injury for much of the first half, but was so determined to run it off. So referee Douglas Hope checks with his linesman. And Airdrie set off on this mammoth task for the second half of trying to retrieve a 2-goal deficit. And the ball immediately picked up by Spackman in midfield for Rangers. There's Paul Jack still in that sweeper role. And it will be very interesting to see what Airdrie do about this for the second half. They certainly have had a real tactical problem to resolve about how they change things to get back into the game. They haven't scored a goal against Rangers this season in the 4 league matches so far in the Cup. So it's going to be a tough task, and Owen Coyle is playing in an area of the field where the Airdrie supporters don't really want to see him, back there in the left back position for the moment. They want to see him up attacking, trying to add to the 14 goals he scored this season. So Rangers with the remarkable record coming to this final, having lost only 1 goal in the run-up. That was scored by Phil O'Donnell for Motherwell in the 4th round at Ibrox. And John Brown running freely there, appears to have recovered from that thigh injury. Alec McDonald there, taking his seat in the stand. Sandy Stewart getting up well. Here's Coyle, robbed by Stevens. McCoy playing it inside, trying to pick out the run made by McCall. That's Balfour. Kirkwood is in behind Robertson. Here's Kirkwood. It's well won by John Brown. There's Caesar. trouble there, robbed by Mikhalichenko. That's why the recovery challenge was required from Honor. There's Chris Honor for Airdrie. There are players in the box, but he couldn't find any of them with that cross. Again, just losing his footing as he made contact with the ball. That's what sent the direction wrong. McCoy's headed on. Durant too deep to take advantage of that. And Walter Kidd lets the ball run. Well, he's sampled cup final disappointment already, Walter Kidd. 3-0 defeat when he played for Hearts against Aberdeen 6 years ago. A game which he didn't see ending because he was in the bath early. There's Durant. And now McCall. Mikhalichenko's made a run. Has played into space for him, and it's well taken by Martin. Paul Jack was caught in two minds there. Sweeper, and it was John Martin who came to the rescue of Airdrie with some good decisive goalkeeping. An intelligent ball that from McCall, and Mikhalichenko sportingly leaping over the keeper. It's escorted back for the goal kick by John Brown. Stuart McCall again showing a deft touch, which is not his main reputation. He's known as a terrier in midfield, but really a very effective footballer in that area also.
Well, I think that Rangers have conquered the midfield now. We've not really seen an awful lot from Airdrie in that department, and certainly Stuart McCall has been the springboard for many of Rangers' attacks. Played some very, very good balls through into the channels to allow Mark Hateley and Ali McCoy to break away from the markers. And played the pass, which allowed McCoy to make it 2-0.
Holding the centre of midfield was Spackman for Rangers. It's Hateley getting up. Durant having a long chase there with Sandy Stewart winning possession, the Airdrie skipper. Pass allowing McCall to make a tough tackle there. He was caught late by Jack. And McCall, to his credit, making light of that, getting on his feet quickly. So a free kick to Rangers. I wonder if Alexei Mikhalichenko may fancy his chances left-footed from here. Only two in the wall for Airdrie, allowing John Martin a good look at the ball. There's Mikhalichenko. Well, he's already demonstrated immense power from his left foot this season, scoring some spectacular goals as he endears himself to the Rangers supporters. So that's a look, long-range look at the Airdrie end of the stadium, the uncovered east terracing. Up goes Spackman. McCall picking out Mikhalichenko. Yet another excellent pass which bounced at just the wrong place for the Ukrainian. So Rangers clearly quite happy in the early stages of the second half, just to keep things tight and calm and keep their rhythm and keep passes flowing. There are no heroics required at this stage from Rangers. Airdrie have all the answers to produce. Headed down by Stevens. Here's Ian Durant. Back it goes towards Gorham. Satisfactory performance from Ian Durant. Goffling it along. Stevens has gone offside. Hateley made that challenge. So Mark Hateley, the man who put Rangers on the road to victory with that goal in half an hour. Robertson's cross. Making it goal number 23 of the season for him. So here's Gary Stevens. Royce makes a run through the middle. He's offside. Allowed to run there by Kidd, whose experience told him that McCoy would certainly be flagged offside if the pass went into that area. Well, a colourful young Rangers supporter. occasion for him to recall. Unless Airdrie can change things before the end. So it's out with Mikhalichenko, and now with Robertson. Here's John Brown. Durant tackled from the rear by Stewart. Heavy challenge that, and the free kick to Rangers. Taken shot to Durant. McCoy tries to come off Kidd. Well, no Rangers player able to take advantage of that dummy. Jack sends the throw back, and the singing comes from the Rangers supporters now. They're looking forward to a second half of celebration. And I'm sure they would also like to see a scoring flourish from their favourites. Jimmy Boyle beaten to that by McCall. Mikhalichenko playing it long. McCoy gives chase. Well, that was a little bit ominous there for John Martin. Had the ball bounced high there, he could have been in trouble. His judgment was good. McCoy was denied. Robertson's header. Caesar there in plenty of time, but Hatley puts him under pressure. Well, Billy, if you were in the Rangers management team, what instructions would you have given at half-time?
Well, I think the important thing is they have got to remember and keep their discipline. And I think more importantly, they've got to shorten the game a bit. They don't need the long balls now anymore. They want to keep the ball and keep nice short passes. Don't allow Airdrie any possession. But most importantly, to keep their discipline at the back and not lose a goal and let Airdrie back into it. Walter Smith not yet in celebration mood, obviously. Perhaps looking on anxiously there because Stuart McCall took a knock in a little exchange there with Jimmy Boyle when they were challenging for the ball a moment ago. Goss header helped on by Durant. Stevens playing it down for Brown. This is Hatley. Well challenged this time by Caesar. Alan Lawrence trying one on the drop there. Well, he didn't strike that with too much conviction. Hairdo at the back there showing the diamond. As the ball broke off Owen Coyle. An awkward, difficult one that for Alan Lawrence. Alec MacDonald in the stand there. Hoping for something of a miracle, I reckon. Came off Stevens. So 10 minutes of the second half gone, and the Rangers supporters going through their full repertoire of songs. Obviously, feeling no tension now about the eventual outcome. Durant was held there by Coyle. Free kick acknowledged by Coyle. McCall to Stevens. Misunderstanding there, allowing Boyle to win possession. Back challenge there, allowing Spackman to pick it up. This is McCoist, faced by Kidd. McCoist felt he was impeded there by Walter Kidd, but it was Walter Kidd back in familiar territory in that right back position. So he coped with that McCoist manoeuvre extremely well. Stevens with a header. There's Sandy Stewart. All they could do was force the ball forward and give Rangers a throw. Bit of jersey holding there by Caesar perhaps, but there's no free kick given. Mark Catley looks towards the referee in disbelief. Alford getting up so well for that. There's Kirkwood. Towards Coyle. It's just a shade too high. That just about sums up the Airdrie day in an attacking sense. Haven't been able to put too much together. We'll have two flurries in the first half. Coyle and Lawrence troubling the Rangers defence.
Richie Knox standing there looking fairly relaxed. In fact, in terms of the Scottish Cup final, extremely relaxed, I would say, at this stage. Seems they're doing well against Hateley. Stevens, well challenged by Sandy Stewart. Hateley and Caesar wrestling there together. Hateley complaining to referee Hope, but complaining in vain. Caesar looks calm and unruffled. Helped on there by Kirkwood. Throw goes to Airdrie though. So to kick the final back into life, Airdrie really would have to think in terms of scoring in the next 10 minutes or so. Give them enough time to look for the equaliser. Goff trying to let that run. He's put under severe pressure by Balfour. The fireman in the Airdrie midfield. An uncompromising character. A very effective player throughout this excellent Airdrie season. It's helped on by McCall, but there's no Rangers player there to take advantage of that. So busy and effective in the Rangers midfield, McCall. Header clear, there's McCall. There's Stevens and Goff, and possession very much the name of the game for Rangers. They certainly can't come to grief if they have the ball, and Airdrie being forced now to work extremely hard to get back into the match. They have sent Andy Smith and Wes Reid out to warm up on the track below us. There's going to have to be some alteration, and I certainly wouldn't be surprised to see tall figure of Andy Smith thrown into the attack. The last big effort to save the match.
Airdrie have got to do something because at the moment Rangers are simply coasting. They're not bothered too much about lifting their game. They know they've got the game won, and at the moment Airdrie really need a goal desperately to get themselves back into it and give themselves some hope. I think a change is imminent.
An offside flag against Owen Coyle, giving a free kick to Rangers. Here's John Brown. And Mikhailchenko taken from the rear there by Honor. He seemed to feel that all right. Former Bristol City defender. Cost £20,000 only. An excellent piece of business that was by Alec MacDonald. Mikhailchenko, on the other hand, cost more than £2 million. So any damage inflicted is of an expensive nature.
He certainly didn't miss him anyway.
Very powerful figure though, Mikhailchenko, and he's written some tough challenges in his time. This is another one. The ball is played up here. He's trying to control the ball as Honor comes through him to make that challenge. Feet. Some of the Rangers management team smiling there. The character Mikhailchenko. Lofted in by Spikeman. Up goes Hateley, and the first time effort from Ali McCoy would have been spectacular. Well, he's looking at another goal to tie the Tennant Scottish Cup goal scoring record for this season, because Jerry Craney is still a goal ahead of him. He needs one more to catch him. And that was a very quick attempt. John Martin with that diamond formation in the back of his head. Visit the hairdressers this week, obviously. One or two of the Airdrie players showing their commitment to the cause. Spikeman playing it along. That's too far ahead of Durant, though. Skidding off the damp surface. And McCoy's not only looking for his 5th in the tournament, but his 40th of the season, and what a fine record that would be for any striker, even though he's playing in the League Championship side.
Yes, it's a magnificent scoring record, and we saw another indication of why Ali scored the goals, because that little head flick from Mark Haley almost gave him another one. He's very sharp inside the box, and you really have to mark him very, very tightly in there.
And he's also prepared to miss, which is another great quality for a striker. McCall to Stevens. Good play from McCall. He appeared to be fouled by Boyle. The referee didn't think so, and he had a very good close-up view of that. So Richard Gough turning there to encourage his teammates to maintain their discipline and make certain that there's no slackness creeping into the play. Kidd misjudged the flight of that ball, but McCoist couldn't take full advantage. Jack playing it long, McCall coming in late there. He's been penalised. So there's going to be an alteration made by Airdrie. The next minute or two, they're going to bring on big Andy Smith. And he will replace... No, there's some uncertainty about who he's going to replace. It's going to be a change made with Alan Lawrence being withdrawn. I'll have to confess to being slightly surprised about that, because it means a change in the attacking pattern, of course, because there's no point in sending long high balls to Alan Lawrence, and that certainly is worthwhile when this man on the field, former Peterhead striker, scored a hat-trick in the earlier round against Huntly. Gough's header. Here's Stewart, put under pressure by McCall. Gough beaten to the high ball by Balfour. Smith's first touch. Closed down well there by Stevens. Here's McCoist. Playing that into the path of David Robertson. Spackman's made the run through the middle. It's turned away by Paul Jack. Nigel Spackman playing with boundless energy again in midfield. Spackman, of course, in the losing side for Liverpool against Wimbledon 4 years ago in the FA Cup final at Wembley. Experience he doesn't want to repeat. Here's Haitley helping it inside. Swept away by Kidd. Smith wins the high ball, but there's no teammate ahead to take advantage. Now Gough. Mikhalichenko. McCall. Too far ahead of David Robertson. But still no signs, Billy, that Airdrie have any ploy which can seriously trouble Rangers' defence.
No, I think they've got a basic style of playing, and they find it difficult to alter that. They're still playing that man-marking game, sweeper in behind, and looking to catch Rangers on the break, which really hasn't happened very much.
Sandy Stewart trying to lead by example, stopped by his opposite number, the Rangers skipper Richard Gough. This is Durant. McCall calling for the ball in the middle. McCall goes down as he collides with Coyle. Spackman's little flick on allows Gough to break. Spackman took a knock there from Balfour. There's Haitley with a very unusual attempt on goal. The way in which he did it, I mean, not the fact that he's reluctant to have a go at goal. And Spackman's in some trouble here as Gough plays this inside. There's a good little head flick on from Ali McCoist, and Haitley trying the outside of the left boot to play it towards the corner. So Spackman took a heavy challenge there from Evan Balfour. And that's why he requires that little spell of treatment. But none of these players, of course, will want to be withdrawn before the end. They want to be on the field. At the cup presentation, Archie Knox talking to Gary Stevens, being pulled back by Hugh Williamson, the fourth official. McCall, Durant, Spackman couldn't control that. Boyle was able to send it all the way back to his goalkeeper. Dragged out of play there by Andy Smith. He was very determined in that challenge on Brown. So they're looking to throw high balls in for Andy Smith to flick on for Owen Coyle, I think.
To do that, he has to get the better of Goff and Brown in the air. This is Brown. Takes the return pass from Goff. Good running by Hateley and by McCoist. He's on his own for the moment. Needs support inside. Durant arriving rather late. So McCoist was very happy to allow that to go out for a corner. But both McCoist and Hateley still offering plenty of hard running upfield for Rangers. Midway through the second half now. We're in the final quarter of the game. Karachenko wins it back there from Honor. It's out with Durant. Back to Spackman. Well, you can see how determined he was to keep that down. He's trying to get over the ball. He managed that, but couldn't get the direction. Cross in there from Ian Durant. It was forced out by Jack and spinning awkwardly as it reached Nigel Spackman. Heavy downpour again at Hampden. Not dampening the spirits of these Rangers supporters, but adding insult to injury perhaps for the Airdrie fans of the East Terracing uncovered. There's Paul Jack. Headed on there by Balfour. Picked up easily by McCall. There's Durant. Stevens. Comes Hateley, trying to turn away from Caesar. The throw goes to Airdrie. Good long throw by Caesar. So the ball thumped out by Ian Durant. It's a throw to Airdrie, and John McVeigh oblivious to the all-hand rainfall. Still living life to the full in this cup final. Remarkable freak of weather this. There's rainfall apparently on one side of the ground and it looks bright and sunny on the other. Here's Walter Kidd. Up goes Robertson. Here's Mikhailchenko. Robertson hurried into that clearance, playing it off Kirkwood. Robertson with a throw short for Brown. The ball was out of play though. Airdrie have a chance here from this throw. Caesar returns the ball swiftly, and it's a chance for Airdrie to use the aerial power of Andy Smith in the box. So a bit of nudging going on as the ball was in the air. Evan Balfour has been penalised. Although Brown won the high ball. Well, Balfour still enjoying himself despite the scoreline, which is Airdrie 0, Rangers 2. We've had 25 minutes in the second half of the 10th Scottish Cup final. 20 minutes left for Airdrie to work a miracle. We are entering a phase of the match where fatigue is liable to set in. It's too high for Hateley. But the Airdrie players really believe have been forced to work so hard they could begin to struggle in the late stages.
Well, they can take a lot of credit from the game in the sense that they have made life very difficult and very awkward for Rangers. It's unfortunate for them that both goals that they lost were perhaps down to little errors and little mistakes, but certainly they have worked hard. They've made Rangers' task difficult, and perhaps that's why it's not the spectacle that we all had hoped it might have been.
There's Gary Stevens. Scored that spectacular goal against St Mirren a week or two back, looking to get his third of the season. So it's a throw to Rangers, which Stevens will take, and quite apart from winning the cup, which is obviously the single most important thing, Rangers will want to do so in some style, and they certainly have the opportunity here because they have lots of possession. They have a team which is justifiably beginning to tire against them. And they also have the determination of the front two, McCoist and Hateley, to keep looking for openings up front.
The other end, can Andy Smith inspire a comeback for Airdrie with his robustious style? He's beaten that time by Goff. Good pass that from Haitley. Here's Mikhalichenko. Trying to hold off the challenge there, and he was held clearly by Valpa. It's a free kick to Rangers, and there will be a little gentle word of warning, I'm sure, for the Airdrie midfield player. Referee Douglas Hope, though, quite content to do with that word of warning and not add to the 101 yellow cards shown to Airdrie over the season. So a free kick for Rangers. Goff has gone forward. That indicates Rangers' desire to get another goal before the end. It's back with Mikhalichenko. And now Spackman. Good play by Nigel Spackman. There's Durant. Delightful play there by Durant also, and John Martin anticipated that move brilliantly. It was first-class goalkeeping, and it had to be, because the Airdrie defence was undoubtedly exposed by that fine piece of play involving Nigel Spackman, who had the vision to pick out this pass, and Ian Durant, who had the vision to make the run. So the corner kick swerving out there for a goal kick to Airdrie, but another glimpse of Ian Durant at his best.
Airdrie needs some inspiration. They really haven't been in the game to any great degree the second half, but there is always the sensation that maybe somewhere along the line they'll catch Rangers being careless, and perhaps the big lad Smith will upset them a little bit, and perhaps Owen Coyle will sneak in. But they haven't given us any more than just a little suggestion that might happen, and we saw a little move from Rangers that almost brought them another goal.
Evan Balfour there leading the field now. Remember, he had a cut on the side of his head in the first half and lost a lot of blood. It looks as though the wound has reopened. That's why he has been taken off to have some further treatment, but he's such an important player that there's no question at this stage of Airdrie replacing him. But checking him very carefully there, though. John Binney there looking on anxiously with John McVeigh on the left, checking to see if Balfour can return to the fray. And the answer is that he can, as Brown heads clear for Rangers. Spackman playing it forward, across goes McCoist. Challenged by Walter Kidd. 34 years old, but still full of enthusiasm and determination. That's good running again by McCoist, and he's stopped in the end by Sandy Stewart, but so effective. And that run through the inside left channel, good pass again from McCall, gathered, full tilt there by McCoist. Good defending in the end from Sandy Stewart. This time Richard Goff has not gone forward, he's allowed John Brown to do so though. There goes Haitley. Martin being very careful there to keep the ball out of the goal. Quarter of an hour remaining in the final. Rangers leading by 2-0. The first scored by Mark Haitley. Here he is trying again for another, and carefully watched by Martin. So one from Haitley, one from McCoist. That separates the teams at this stage. Rangers' last Scottish Cup victory back in 1981 when they beat Dundee United 4-1 in a replay after the draw in the first match when Ian Redford missed that dramatic last-minute penalty kick. There's McCall. It's back now with Stevens. 5 championships out of the last 6 and no cup glory. That's all about to change, I think. Brown to Haitley. And Gus Caesar running with him. Haitley complaining that he was fouled, but the referee had a perfect view of that and saw nothing wrong with Gus Caesar's contribution here. Here was Haitley. Well, he appeared to hesitate just for a second. Caesar going to play the ball. John Brown has no qualms about a simple clearance, putting the ball into touch, and winning it from Andy Smith. Well, it's going to take something out of the ordinary from Airdrie now. 13 minutes left, 2-0 to Rangers. Jack taking too long in possession, allowing McCoist to clear up. This is Owen Coyle. The tackle came from Spackman. It's a corner kick to Airdrie. Well, what a dramatic finish we would have if Airdrie could find the net. And for the corner kick, Rangers have pulled everyone back inside the penalty box. It's a measure of their diligence and their respect here, taking no chances. Gorham makes a good punch. Through the six-yard box. Interception made by Kidd, with the pass intended to reach Ali McCoist. Kirkwood playing it in, forcing Brown to make the clearance. David Robertson looking towards linesman Bill McRae, asking the question about whether or not the ball was out of play before Kirkwood pulled it back. Started his career at East Fife, moved to Rangers, then to Hearts, and now to Airdrie. Kirkwood. There's Coyle with a snapshot. Coming through a ruck of players, Gorham watching it very carefully, going into the side netting. Well, Andy Gorham's had precious little to do in the Rangers goal this afternoon, and he was able to watch this go wide.
It's a good header out by John Brown. I don't quite picks it up well, but he doesn't quite get hold of it. Certainly not enough to trouble the goalkeeper.
Here's Richard Gough, closed down very quickly by Smith. Gough not entirely happy with the movement ahead. Felt that he wasn't given enough options, perhaps. Great layoff from Haitley. Durant taking that of the run, but playing the ball into space occupied by Paul Jack, the Airdrie sweeper. Well, if Airdrie are going to make the headlines now, they'll have to do something really special. 11 minutes left for play. 2-0 Rangers lead. As Kirkwood helps the ball on to Stevens. Coist. And a bit of holding there by Balfour on Spackman. Free kick taken quickly by McCoist, who wants the chance to score more goals before the end. Stevens playing it towards McCoist. The supporting player was McCall, but the early defence stands firm. Well, it's quite clear, Billy, that Ali McCoist is desperate to get more goal-scoring opportunities.
Yes, he's looked very hungry indeed this afternoon. Took the chance that he got well and has threatened on other occasions. But, you know, Rangers are coasting at the minute. They're confident they have the scoreline they want. They're confident that Airdrie don't have the ability to take it away from them. Every now and then they lift their game, and when they do lift their game, they cut through Airdrie's defence like a hot knife through butter.
But it still hasn't produced any goals in this second half. That really would be music to the ears of the Rangers fans if they could see more goals before the end. There's Walter Kidd with a header out. Cleared by Jack. There's Kirkwood. Space over on the far side there for Chris Honor. 10 minutes remaining. Here's Andy Smith. Tackled firmly by Richard Gough. Smith and Coyle, for a brief second there, looked as though they might create an opening. Here's Davy Kirkwood. Breaks there for Smith. And at the goal for Airdrie! The cup has been thrown back into some doubt by a magnificent strike from Andy Smith. So the big Airdrie substitute celebrates. These Airdrie fans have cause now for optimism. Suddenly, the cup final has been blasted wide open. Davy Kirkwood with that long-range effort, it was blocked. It fell to Andy Smith, and that gave Andy Gorham no chance at all.
It starts with a good strike here. It gets a little deflection, falls on his back. Not an easy ball to hit. What a marvellous strike with this young man. This has really opened up this game with, what, some 9-10 minutes to go.
Well, what a view of the goal, which left Andy Gorham helpless. And Davy Kirkwood's shooting power paying up again. It seemed to break off John Brown, but what a finish it was from Andy Smith. And it's one which throws a lifeline to Airdrie. They now have 8 minutes in which to take this final to extra time. Well, Andy Smith getting his 9th goal of the season. He was ordered off against Rangers back in February. The acrobatic effort, there's a header from Hatley. He was offside and wouldn't have counted, but that doesn't detract from the quality of the save from John Martin. Well, David Robertson playing this in low. It was controlled well by Ali McCoy to that overhead effort. Hatley's header brilliantly saved.
Yes, it's an interesting little move here. Ali McCoy plays it across the goals. I think he tried a shot in actual fact. Good header from Mark Haley, but what a magnificent save from the goalkeeper. He's had a good game. He may have been slightly at fault at McCoy's second goal, but other than that, he's had an impeccable game.
The replay showing, I think, that the linesman was absolutely right about that offside flag. John Martin couldn't depend on that, though. Off goes Davy Kirkwood, and on comes Wes Reid, signed just a couple of months ago from Bradford City. And he will go into that wide midfield role, vacated by Kirkwood. Fresh pair of legs. So 7 minutes plus injury time left for play. It's 2-1 to Rangers, and suddenly the complexion of the game has changed. There's no offside here. Andy Gordon coming out to halt Andy Smith, but any feeling of fatigue experienced by the Airdrie players has gone completely. They now see the opportunity here to cause a major upset. The Airdrie supporters now have reason to celebrate, and they certainly have justifiable cause for optimism. Could there be a dramatic ending to the match? Here's Gus Caesar, and Hatley gets there. Paul Jack drags the ball away from McCoist. Well, Airdrie can't afford any kind of mix-up like that in defence. The third for Rangers would surely seal the cup. Header back by Smith. This is Balfour, now Coyle. Balfour again. Promising play once more from Airdrie. Well, disappointing cross. No one there. Chris Honor pulling it across the front of the 18-yard box without any Airdrie player able to take advantage. So there's going to be a change now made by Rangers. Going to bring on Dale Gordon, I think. Gordon stripping off now to join the action. Well, are Rangers going to be punished for appearing to be content to sit in that 2-goal lead in the second half? There's McCall. Hatley going across with Caesar. Pushed by Hatley. It's a free kick taken quickly by Caesar. Hatley trying very hard to end the match as a contest for Rangers, but that hasn't been possible as yet. Airdrie are right back in it. Headed away by Brown. Paul Jack's header. McCoy's trying to get round Walter Kidd. He couldn't make it. Cut off by Goff there for Stevens. Stevens now stepping outside Andy Smith. The substitute has earned his corner with that excellent goal. There's Paul Jack. Breaks now in the midfield for Sandy Stewart. This is Balfour and Coyle. Reid has gone ahead. Still Reid in possession. This is promising again for Airdrie. Where's Reid? What a fine effort by the substitute, and suddenly Rangers are rocking. A match which was so much within their control for so long suddenly looks less secure as Wes Reid thundered that shot over the bar. So Ian Durant is coming off. He's done enough, and he will be replaced by Dale Gordon. There shouldn't mean too much alteration in the Rangers' pattern of play. But Reid here so determined, holding the play up, winning the ball from Goff, stepping away from Gary Stevens. Had the shooting chance here. Played long there by Honor. Headed by Brown. 3.5 minutes plus injury time remaining. Rangers leading by 2 goals to 1. But Airdrie undoubtedly now with their tails up. Walter Smith has joined Archie Knox now on the bench. An anxious look at the watch there by Archie Knox. Things looking different all of a sudden. So Airdrie again trying to work an opening there from midfield. Boyle sends it long. Coyle trying to get in there behind John Brown. A bit of pushing on Brown. The referee allows the advantage with Gorham in possession. The clock ticking on here. Into the closing 3 minutes. Anxiety there on the Rangers bench. Walter Smith returns to the director's box. Plenty of singing again from the Rangers supporters. They clearly still believe the cup has been won, but Airdrie are battling right to the end. The man of the match award has been confirmed by the sponsors, tenants. It is Mark Hateley who has won that. Hard to argue with that in the light of his performance this afternoon. After 2 losing finals in France and Italy, he looks to be on the brink. The winner's medal. A fine performance. Here's Gary Stevens. Spackman breaks through the inside left position. This is Dale Gordon. Good running by McCall inside. Forward it goes to McCoist. First touch let him down, but he's determined enough to win it back from McCall. Spackman caught late there by Evan Balfour. Will the referee take an indulgent view? He does. Although he's warned Balfour already, he seems determined now not to show a yellow card. Well, he certainly could have for that tackle, coming on the end of a few others like it earlier in the match. Referee Douglas Hope hasn't yet booked anyone in this final. Goff with the free kick, looking for Hateley. He's beaten to the ball by Caesar. There's Nigel Spackman. Kusana comes to meet that. Played the ball out though for a throw. So the clock ticking on now towards the final minute. There will be a little bit of stoppage time. Can Airdrie use it well? So there's the indication that we have 1 minute left for play. And a bit of injury time, perhaps a minute or so of that. Headed away by Caesar, helped on by Balfour. He didn't catch that properly though. He's given possession back to Rangers, who'll take plenty of time, I'm sure, about this throw. David Robertson strolling over to collect the ball. He's all set to collect his second Willis medal. And these Rangers supporters clearly convinced the trophy is to be won. Hateley's header. Forced forward by Balfour. Reid looking for Coyle. Brown escorts the ball back to Andy Gorham, who reassures him that there is no imminent danger. Coyle still looking for a glimpse of goal before the end, but time is running out rapidly for Airdrie. They have to throw everyone forward now. We're into injury time. John McVeigh coming out, still wants one last supreme effort from his team to save the match, but they're not going to get it. Rangers are the winners. Very little injury time. Mark Hateley, the sponsors man of the match, shakes hands with his Airdrie opponents. He scored the goal which opened the way to victory for Rangers with a fine goal on the half hour, and Ali McCoy's popped up right on half time with an excellent left foot volley to put the tie, or put the final apparently beyond Airdrie, but that reckoned without their resilience, and Andy Smith came on as substitute to score a fine goal near the end, which threw a lifeline to Airdrie and gave them the basis for a late flurry to try to save the game. But it's these Rangers supporters who are able now to celebrate, because Richard Goff will collect the Scottish Cup in just a few moments and bring to an end a magnificent season for Rangers. So Richard Goff, after disappointment with Dundee United and with Tottenham Hotspur, will collect the trophy. Walter Smith, who's also faced final disappointment in his career, both with Rangers and with Dundee United, and he now is in position to talk to Rob McLean.
Walter, it's been a long wait. How are you feeling?
Yeah, obviously relieved it was over. We made a wee bit heavy weather of the game, especially second half there, but I'm just delighted that we've got the cup.
What did you think of it as a game to watch?
I don't think it was a bet. A lot of time, a lot of nervousness in the final. I felt our players showed a lot of nervousness. They had been confronted with a situation where people were telling them that they were going to win 4 and 5-0, and I think that put quite a bit of pressure on them to live up to that expectation.
Real killer goals in the first half.
Yeah, there were 2 good goals. Came at a time when, you know, the game hadn't really settled down, the first one, and I thought that gives a little lift. We had a couple of chances then, and then scored the second one, and obviously we're delighted.
It's been some year for you, hasn't it?
Well, it's been a good year. I hope it's a good night for us anyway.
Well done, thanks very much.
Thanks, Rob.
So very happy and relaxed Rangers manager Walter Smith, facing a number of interviews he'll face now. The Rangers players now wait while the runners-up Airdrie go up to collect their medals, and they can do so with great pride and distinction. They've had a marvellous season. 7th in Premier Division, Sandy Stewart leads them through. Skol Cup semi-finalists, Scottish Cup finalists, and Andy Smith there, the player who almost gave it a dramatic finish with that excellent goal. And very warm applause from these appreciative Airdrie supporters, and that is thoroughly justified. So Wes Reid there goes through, the other substitute. Alan Lawrence came off early, clearly looking disappointed, but they've no reason to be other than totally proud of their performance this afternoon. They were unlucky when Dave Kirkwood slipped to allow David Roberts to set up Mark Hateley for the opening goal, and then fought an uphill struggle all the way from then on. Walter Smith with that handshake for Richard Gough. They've been together so frequently in their career, coming together at Dundee United so many years ago. So wait for the reception now for the Rangers players as they come forward. And these Rangers supporters have waited 11 long years for this moment, which is coming up shortly. The wife of the SFA president, Peter Gardner, Mrs. Christine Gardner, waits to hand the Scottish Cup to Richard Gough. So 2 trophies there to collect. The Tennent's replica trophy also for the sponsors. But here comes Richard Gough to collect the trophy. And it's congratulations to Rangers, the Tennent Scottish Cup winners for 1992. Applauded all around the stadium. The climax to a wonderful season. Richard Gough reluctant to let that trophy go, collecting the second one, the Tennent's replica trophy. So clutching both trophies, and doesn't appear to be too willing to pass it down the line as is normal and traditional. Indeed, he won't do that. He's keeping it all to himself, at least for the moment. So after that 11-year interval, Rangers have won the cup, and Ali McCoy's huge grin tells the story of his joy. He scored what turned out to be the winner right on the half-time whistle. Alexei Mikhalichenko, clearly a happy man, and Paul Rideout, the substitute, who did not come on. So the trophy presentation has gone on. These Rangers supporters waiting now to begin the celebrations in earnest. So the Rangers players coming back onto the field, a huge smile on the face of Archie Knox there on the right, Davy Dodds on the left. Remember, Archie Knox and Walter Smith played together for Dundee United in the losing final of 1974 against Celtic. And the Scottish Cup held aloft by Richard Gough. And the Rangers supporters will be hard to dislodge from Hampden while their favourites remain on the field. So yet another triumphant photograph for the press and for the newspapers tomorrow. So they've won the double for the first time since 1978, when they beat Aberdeen in the final, having won the championship. It's been a long, long wait, 14 years for the double, and all the hard work put in by Walter Smith and Archie Knox paying off with this triumphant moment. Any thoughts now of a Scottish Cup jinx totally dispelled? The Rangers now going to take the trophy around Hampden Park. So coming down to the east terracing end where the Airdrie supporters are congregated, but a lot of Rangers fans also in this area of the ground in the southeast stand. Rangers having the bulk of the supporters, of course. Ali McCoy completes his set of medals with his Scottish Cup winners' medal. Mark Haitley gets his first winners' medal in senior professional football. Nigel Spackman makes up the disappointment playing for Liverpool against Wimbledon in 1988. And the Rangers players applauding the fans for the support they've given throughout the season and throughout this final. So it appears to be a mixture there of Rangers and Airdrie supporters in that corner of the stadium. So the Rangers players going round have left their principal support in the West Stand till the end. The goal scorers holding the trophy aloft. Ali McCoy and Mark Haitley parading the Scottish Cup to the supporters. And they are supposed to remain on the field of play for this lap of honour. They're not supposed to leave the pitch to go on the track. SFA regulations indicate that. Well, Mark Haitley clutching the cup trophy, but here's the Rangers captain Richard Gough with Rob McLean.
Richard, you've known all about losing cup finals. This must be sweet.
Very sweet indeed. I don't think we played very well on the day, Rob, but you know, we got the result. That was the main thing at the end of the day.
2 timely goals in that first half.
Yeah, well, first one by Mark Haitley, second one, the crucial one just before half-time. And then we tended just to play out the game instead of going for the third goal. And it nearly cost us with Airdrie getting a good goal with maybe 10 minutes to go.
Credit to them.
Definitely, definitely. They made it very, very difficult for us.
Well done.
Thank you very much.
So very happy Rangers captain, having tasted defeat in finals before for Dundee United and Tottenham Hotspur, savouring this moment. John Brown now has the trophy as he shows that to the Rangers fans. So there's no rush about this lap of honour for the Rangers players. Alexei Mikhalichenko is certainly enjoying the spirit of the occasion. Andy Gorham too. Move to Ibrox for the opportunity to win trophies. Walter Smith looks on calmly. Yet another success in his management career. And Ali McCoy is now the natty bit of headgear, and he with Mark Haitley is talking to Rob McLean again.
2 losing cup finals on the continent, but you've won here, Mark. How do you feel? Man of the match as well.
Yeah, very pleased. I say for the club, it's been such a long time since we've won this, you know, and as you can hear, everybody's over the moon. So pleased for everybody associated with Rangers.
Not maybe the most glamorous of games, Ali, but it's the result that matters, obviously.
That's all it is. As the gaffer said, he's played very well, and his teams have played very well in a few cup finals and never won one. But I told you we'd do it, Dad, didn't I?
That was the medal you badly wanted, of course.
Oh, that was the one to complete this magic result. Magic.
And that completes a marvellous season for you as well, Mark.
Yeah, it's been a good season all round for myself, the team, and Alistair. We've had a good run this year, and hopefully we can continue it next season.
Well done, thanks very much.
Thanks a lot.
So the happy goal scorers for Rangers there. Mark Haitley got the first in half an hour, and Ali McCoy scored in 45 minutes. And they rejoin the teammates now as they go round at the West Stand area. So all these scarves materialising, and supporters' hats collected by the players, and they're coming all the way around, savouring this occasion to the full. So the Super Ali chant goes on. Walter Smith now with Nigel Spackman, who's been such a valuable servant, joining the club nearly 3 years ago, performing so well. Mark Haitley took some time to win over the Rangers supporters, but that's been achieved comprehensively now. And the ball boys there collecting mementos of the occasion.
Fairy tale finish to the season for you.
Well, it's been great for me the last couple of months, and as you see, a fairy tale end of the season. I can't ask for any more.
How did you enjoy the game?
Well, I don't think it's one of the better finals, but as I say now, we've ended up winning the cup, so that'll do for me.
And obviously looking to build on this and maybe get a full season next season.
Well, hopefully I'll get a good pre-season behind me, and then after that we'll see what happens, but I'm really looking forward to next season and establish myself.
Are we sure about tonight, maybe?
Oh, just a couple, I think.
Well, it's been a fairy tale end of the season, as Ian Durant says, for him. Coming right back to his best rapidly, and next season could see him at his very best.
John, a loser in 89, this must make up for it today.
Yeah, I said to Alan McCoist this week, we've been in Scotland most of our careers and we're just happy to get this medal. It's made the set and it's a big relief, Hazel.
It's probably a good job for your family too. Your wife Diana was telling us you were a nightmare to live with a few years ago after you lost.
Well, it ruins your summer if you get beaten the last day of the season. Scottish Cup, especially against Celtic, haven't had a successful season, but this has definitely made up for it this year.
What a season, doing the double after, what, 14 years, amazing.
Yeah, it's great for the club, it's great for the fans. They've missed it for the last 11 years. I was in the terraces the last game here, and a very proud moment.
How much of a relief is it, do you think, to Rangers that having buried this cup hoodoo today, John?
Well, it wasn't the best of performances. I feel we got through it. You're just happy to get the win, and that's the first one, and I hope it continues in the distant future.
2 drinks tonight, John, thank you.
So the Scottish Cup in the hands there of Walter Smith, the Rangers manager. Clearly a very popular figure among his players. He's done a splendid job since assuming responsibility in Grahamson. As Campbell will be there with Donald Finlay, 2 of the Rangers directors in the stand, enjoying the moment also. With Rangers winning for the 25th time. They've won the Scottish Cup, and for Walter Smith, a moment I'm sure he'll never forget. Billy, fascinating final. Airdrie contributed hugely in the end.
Yes, at the end of the day, no one can have any criticism of Airdrie. They worked very hard, made life awkward for Rangers, and when Andy Smith scored the goal, they certainly gave us the impression that they might have got into extra time. At the end of the day, I feel the scoreline was perhaps just a little bit unfair on Rangers.
So the Rangers supporters there now showing their final appreciation for the management and for the players. That's what it was all about, the Scottish Cup. And for Walter Smith and Archie Knox, a moment of real joy, as you can tell from the expressions on their face. So it's Rangers who are the 10th Scottish Cup winners in 1992. It's been a final which Airdrie have graced with a great distinction, but it's Rangers whose power won in the end. Rangers getting home by 2-1.
The traditional scenes of celebration following a cup win, red, white and blue ribbons on the cup after an 11-year absence. But I suppose we would have to say, not striking a down note necessarily, that it wasn't the greatest of finals, Murdo, was it?
No, I don't think so. Obviously Rangers would be a wee bit disappointed in their second half performance. There was no pressure on them, they'd scored the pushed forward, maybe got other goals. And they put themselves under pressure and they lost the goal near the end. Normally you'd want to finish a final the last 10 minutes, knocking the ball about and enjoying it with your fans. I think they felt the pressure.
It almost looked, Derek, as if both sides had settled for 2-0.
Well, certainly Rangers had. Airdrie obviously trying to get back into the game, and full marks for them at half-time. They tried to push forward, they tried to get that goal. It's just a pity for them they didn't get the goal maybe 10 or 15 minutes earlier and really put Rangers under more pressure. But Alex McDonald should be proud of his team as Airdrie fans, because I think everyone at half-time expected it 2-0. It may well be 4 or 5 here. That never ever looked like it in the second half.
That's right, yes, Airdrie came back very well, and Andy Smith had come on as substitute, scored the goal, and a very good goal it was too, Murdo.
Superb strike there, but it was well blocked. Look at that. The ball's 2 feet in the air and he's caught it perfectly. No chance. Mind you, I think it took a slight deflection just to beat Andy Gorham here.
Yeah. Andy Gorham had virtually nothing to do all afternoon.
No, he never had a save to make. See, the ball was just nicked by him there.
I actually headed it out there, Dougie, in that angle there as the ball came in.
Wonderful view of it.
Tremendous strike, yeah.
Yeah. You can't argue, the Rangers are, I don't think there's any doubt, the best team in the country, and they've done the double, and you can't argue with that.
Well, even when they don't play well, they still win games, do you? I think that they proved that here this afternoon. They were never ever going to lose the game. They were always on top, but they get a bit complacent after half-time. They thought at half-time the game was won and stopped playing, and that Airdrie in the end maybe find themselves a bit unlucky not to get another goal and go into extra time.
When the game was in one of its flat periods, about halfway through the second half, they were discussing who might be man of the match, and there must have been a dozen contenders, because I don't think anyone was outstanding. But Mark Hateley got it in the end.
Yeah, I think it was very difficult to pick a man of the match. Nobody really stamped their authority, knocked the ball about, made good passes. Derek and I were just saying we felt the referee was superb. No disrespect to the players, but I think the referee, beforehand, the game was labelled as if there might be trouble. Airdrie's past record, superb, no trouble at all. He maybe could have booked somebody near the end. He handled it very well.
So is this a historic moment then, Derek? Are you actually giving praise to a referee?
Unfortunately, yes, I am. I thought well, we never spoke about him the whole game. That means he had a good game. I thought he had an excellent game. Mike, Murdo's right. Airdrie have come here with a terrible record, disciplinary-wise, and it wasn't a dirty game at all today.
Yes, absolutely no evidence of it. It's almost frightening, and you're at Easter Road. You've got to take on Rangers next season and try to stop them doing it again. But they've such strength and depth, Murdo, that it's hard to see them not repeating the feat or coming close to it next season, isn't it?
That's right. Obviously, it's just that hopefully if we could match them maybe a one-off game like we did last season in the Scotland Cup semi-final. But I think over the 44 games, when it comes to anything, they've got such a strong pool. Even as you said, they didn't play so well today, they're still good enough to win the Scottish Cup.